Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner. I'm here with James Farley.
Hello.
Sean Bell.
Hello.
And Matt Murray.
Hello.
Wait. Are we back to a fixed order for the intro now? I thought we used to mix it up, but now it's always James.
Yeah,
me,
no,
and
it
Matt.
is a fixed order. Right, because do you want me to explain it?
Please.
Right, James complained the most about wanting to be named first. Do you remember?
I know. I complained about being last every single time.
No. If you go back, you would complain. Why do you never say my name first?
Yeah, because it's always last. You always said it.
So
way
now
you
it's
said
always
it,
first.
Yeah, but it's
now
also the way you said it.
James.
You always said it was like, and James Farley. Like it was like you weren't happy I was here.
Well, no, because I was easing the audience into your tone.
No, you
know
just
what I
sounded
mean?
disappointed every time.
If I was to go, and James Farley, I don't want to be here. It doesn't really. It sort of just drops too sharply. So if I go, and James Farley, I don't want to be here. See, it's a smoother transition to James,
sound like that,
right?
Dave. That's not fair.
But then you moaned about not being first, so you're always first, right? Then Matt got moved last because he stole my title of the main one.
Yeah. I mean,
so
I didn't steal it. Yeah, it was given to me by the fans.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
I
said I'm going to resign from being the main one, and you went, "Oh, me, I want that."
I didn't
what
say
I've been
that
working
though.
towards.
That's I'm living in your head rent free. That's you. It's not me.
You live in my head rent free. You would be in there rent free, boy. I'll be charging you.
I am
no
clearly.
doubt.
I've clearly got under your skin.
No, hold on. No, you literally said, "I'll take it." That's what you said. If you go back, listen to the
someone
tapes,
has
Matt.
to step up.
Listen to the takes. Yeah, but you haven't stepped up. That's
I'm
why
not
I didn't do the main one this year.
I
mean, this week, because it's just
I think I've stepped up.
you're doing nothing with it. You're doing nothing
I think
with
I've
it.
stepped up.
I don't. The Patreon producers this month are Aaron Patrick, Anthony Oakinson, Simon Nelson, Thomas, Jack Oven, Moomin Biscuit, and Richard Sawyer. You are the Full Nels crew, and we bloody love you. If you want to join the Full Nels crew, go to www.patreon.com/TCGS. If you don't want to go Full Nels, there are various other tiers there. We got a bonus show. To be doing that soon. We'll be doing that soon. And are we changing the Talks Over Live this year for the $10 people?
Maybe.
This month.
Okay, this
month.
week. Fucking hell. Honestly, time is non-existent for me right now. So, okay, if you are on the $10 tier, we're doing something a bit different this month, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's the plan. And just what I'm saying is that when we announce when we're doing this special Patreon live thing, make sure you turn up because this is going to be good. We already did a test of this, didn't we? And it works really well, except for the final recording fucked up.
I absolutely fucked the recording, so
Yeah,
couldn't put it out.
well, it happens. It was
one.
the first time we did something
Yeah,
a little bit special like that. So now we think we've cracked it.
Yeah.
Be there live. That's the $10. The $5 get the bonus show. $40. You're the Patreon producers. You're the Full Nels. Right, okay. Should we get to feedback, Matt?
Let's. We're going to start with Kurt Lewin. Feedback regarding high game prices and James saying it's a lot of rubbish. I think he made some valid points about variable pricing, but for AAA games with no microtransactions, at what point does he think it would be acceptable for prices to go up? And now, on the other hand, there's a couple of other bits. I'll read them all, and then you can respond to it.
You know what? That's a man bracing himself there. Matt Murray is just getting in.
Video game Fat Zangief on Twitter listened to the Computer Game Show today and found James's take on game pricing fascinating. Back in 1993, FIFA International Soccer cost £44.99. Adjusted for inflation, that would now be £92.35 today. In real terms, gaming is cheaper now than it's ever been. And we'll end with this last one, MS Rangers 999. What I also couldn't understand, okay, there's a bit of a thread actually, and there's like hundreds of tweets about this. This is a response to a thread. What I also couldn't understand from James is seemingly having no realization that the cost to make video games has gone up by millions. The Witcher 3 estimated at 46 million, God of War / Tomb Raider 100 mil, and The Last of Us 2 expected to be much higher. These costs exclude marketing costs. James.
Okay, see, I read all these and clearly nobody was listening to what I actually said.
He's going to throw it back at listeners, isn't he?
No, this always irritates me because obviously the cost of making games has increased like significantly generation to generation, right? Okay. That definitely happens. But the thing is the price point for buying games, maybe it hasn't significantly increased over time for like a standard like version of something, but then prices have increased if you factor in things like microtransactions, season passes, and all that kind of stuff. But also, the thing is, you can't compare games that came out even 10 years ago with the ones that are released now, because they aren't like for like in terms of the content that you get for those games. They really aren't. Yeah, they strip things out, they put them in season passes, or they I mean, for example, comparing FIFA, like FIFA from when did he say?
The original one in 93.
Yeah, back in 1993. That didn't have FIFA Ultimate Team, did it? Like, you know, like as part of it. There wasn't anything like that.
Yeah, but you can't... Okay, so what's your point there exactly, James?
My point is...
Yeah, that was weird.
That
was you went round the houses there and didn't make a point. What's going on?
No, my point is that there's been a massive focus on trying to do, like, recurrent user spending with games. Like, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get...
terms.
What?
Go on, James.
No, go on, Matt. What did you say there?
It's clearly you've looked up some terminology for this retort.
Okay. I mean, do you want me to, say something informed, or do you want me to just talk nonsense like you do?
Let's go a little bit.
God, he's lashing out.
Jesus.
He's lashing out. God.
So anyway, but my other point that I was trying to make here is that if you look at other entertainment, so for example film, the cost of production for that has also similarly increased like massively over the past decade. But then if you look at the cost of, for example, DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff on digital purchases, those have decreased compared with like the 2000s and 1990s. And
yeah, but cinema ticket prices have gone up.
I know, but most of the revenue comes from media, doesn't it? Like from selling like DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff like that, and digital downloads. But then also you got the fact that people.
I don't know. Is that true?
I'm just.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true. Is it?
Well, somebody
will hoping that we assume it is.
Yeah, somebody will definitely correct me on that point.
I would argue
but also,
these days it's not that.
What?
I actually think these days, like, it's a bigger thing to go to cinema. You know, you always hear about, films like Avengers and other big, huge Marvel ones making hundreds of millions.
I don't think that's true, because if you look at it, cinema, people going to the cinema has decreased like over the last couple of years. They've been worried all the time that people are not going.
But the price of cinema tickets has massively gone up.
I don't think it has. Like, not massively. Like, if you,
I don't know.
If you compare, like, if I think back to when I was a kid and I used to go to the cinema in the 90s, that would cost.
Oh, come on! Now you're talking into halfpennies and
you can't compare, James, because back in the 90s it was 2D. Now you got 3D with VIP seats and glasses and all sorts of shit.
Exactly, they found other ways to make money in the same way that these companies.
It cost £1 to watch 2 movies, and you still had some money for a pie on the way home.
My overall point with this is, yes, the price of production has gone up, but it's up. It's basically the market decides whether it's acceptable to increase the prices. So, like in response to Kurt, like he said, when do I think that it's okay for prices to go up? It's not for me to decide or for the company to decide. It's for whether people decide they want to pay that or not. That's what it is at the end of the day with this.
Yeah, but given your quite vitriolic discussion and backing up of it last week, when do you think it will be acceptable for games to be £70 or £80?
When people decide that they're happy to pay that.
I know, but
you were so adamant that this was terrible what they were doing.
Because my argument here is not that they can't increase prices. It's the fact that they shouldn't plead poverty about making these games, because if these things are costing too much to make, don't make them. Is the thing or make them? That's the point I'm trying to make with this. They're not running a charity. These companies.
No. So
if you're a construction company, you've got an idea for a building and no one's willing to pay the amount that it would cost, per unit or whatever, to make it worthwhile. You don't just go, well, we need to build it anyway and charge more for it regardless, and just hope people Well,
but I mean, I'm assuming that they do believe people will pay for it at that price point.
Yeah, they're obviously.
And you remember, the other factors that are going into this is that the second-hand market is still alive.
Yeah.
I bought The Last of Us 2 for £50 and then sold it for £35 a few weeks later. So. But also, I paid £15 for that game. It's
what I'm saying is that I think it's disingenuous to say that prices haven't increased at all, because they have over this time. And these companies are raking in money like hand over fist. You look at like Activision; they make huge amounts of money, then they lay off a load of staff. From that. This is insane to just say that there is no money and they can't make anything out of this, because clearly they do. Because if they did,
I don't think anyone was saying
they wouldn't
that.
exist.
I don't think anyone was saying that. I think the point was, and to be fair, I was on your side. I felt that prices of games had gone up, and they certainly found different ways to charge for them. But I don't think anyone was saying that. They're really struggling here, and we need to help them out.
That is what they say. They always say that. They're always just like, it's costing so much to make. We can't afford it.
What I'm saying is that our point was that actually, with budgets going up, I'm surprised it's not the price of buying a video game hasn't gone up further.
Yeah, not gone up more. Yeah.
But it has. They have increased. I mean, look at all those special editions and stuff that are like £100 and everything.
Yeah, they've found ways to recoup a lot of money, as we say, with DLC.
Yeah.
I mean, remember back in the Xbox days, all that stuff would be free, and that obviously is now being sold back to us and stuff. So they have found ways, but the base price when the game comes out. I also think that another important thing to note is that the price of games plummets way quicker than it ever has in the past.
Depending on the platform, like Nintendo ones, that doesn't happen.
Yes, of course, yeah. Nintendo's of course exempt from that, but when you look at games that even EA have released, that within a few weeks is down to over half the price. That's pretty crazy as well, right?
But then what does that indicate? I mean, that indicates to me that there should be a market for more variable pricing because people aren't happy to pay like 60 quid or whatever for those games.
Yeah, that's what I was saying last
week. I really
think
there should be a system here. I don't think all games should cost exactly the same. There should be other ways to figure out how much things should be.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. I don't think as I say, with an increase of price, you'd expect less people to buy that game for the higher price. But will that affect they like launch period sales? They had a really good discussion about it on the Bombcast last week. And one of the guys from there brought that up and said that the importance is selling within a few weeks of launch, because that's where you get the most money, because they're expecting it to drop in price like very quickly soon after. So maybe raising that price will affect game sales within that first week, but the money will be worth it essentially.
See, I do sometimes wonder like what kind of effect it would have if they did actually cut the price like more to what they already are, like whether that would increase just like sales numbers, whether you get more people buying stuff.
You could say it will. If they cut the price, it will. But will they make the money back up that they've cut for the price?
It depends if they get a lot more people buying or not.
Fucking everyone would be doing that if that was the case.
Yeah, because it's going to go down anyway. So people know that. That's why have it at full price or expensive on launch, because they know the first month is the most important, and then they know games will go down. And there's almost something like another type of user that just waits 2 weeks after launch because they want games half price.
But exactly, that's because they know that the price is going to go down massively. But what I'm saying is, like, do you remember? I remember with the original PlayStation, they ran that thing for a while where they started releasing stuff at 30 quid, and they sold a lot. Like they sold a lot of like games at that price.
But did they make money out of doing that? I would assume that. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'd assume that they've got a fairer idea of the market and what they can and cannot charge, than like a better idea than we do. So that's kind of what I was saying last week, is that I can't see this being the new norm. This price point, I can't see it being the new norm, because you can do that with a very popular sports game that people are just going to buy anyway. Can you do that with a new franchise you're trying to launch?
Yeah,
I don't think you can.
I think if you get something out in the launch window of a new console, you absolutely can, because people
definitely.
buy
That's what I said last week.
That's certainly the case with PlayStation this time round. But is it for Microsoft?
Well, everything's free on Game Pass. It's difficult. It's different, isn't it?
You see, Game Pass is going to be interesting, because I think we're going to end up with that. There's going to be a lot more games on that will be released as like what they call like standard editions that will then. You'll be expected to like buy season passes and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of that already on there, isn't there? I mean, you just look at that Minecraft Dungeons. Hugely popular, launched on Game Pass, and now they're going, all the expansions you're going to have to pay for. And
the only thing that worries me with that is that
makes total sense as a business.
It does, but the only thing that worries me with that is that may be the case. Like for Microsoft games, I'm sure that they will have like the full versions. It'll be fine and everything. But how quickly is that then going to become like basically free to play? Like the publisher's going to just start putting...
When does it become a demo?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like it's on Game Pass. It's like but you have to still buy 2/3 of it, because that's it. It's
I still think these publishers, I think for launch, they think £69 is going to be a really nice price, and then we'll see what happens after that.
They're thinking that, sitting there rubbing their hands, thinking they can make a lot more cash out of it.
I'll say this. Feedback is supposed to be the light-hearted, bantery part of the show, and we've got fucking boring quick. So let's move on to the next bit of feedback.
Okay. We also had a discussion on physical releases and so on and so forth. I can't remember what the conversation was even about, but we'll read this feedback. Ray tracing, just to help make Dave even more correct. Tetris 99 also had a physical release, and Paul Shear and a bunch of others also said the same thing.
Thank you. Yeah, I forgot all about that. But comments, James? Didn't have a good week last week, did you? Although I am surprised by your tactic of change the point you were making, bore the listeners, move on, get away with the shouting. That's worked quite well for you today.
It has worked, yeah. I mean, move on. Go on.
Go on.
Mike, morning chaps. I started playing Disco Elysium last night. I bought it ages ago after Sean had some kind of revelatory. It says conniption. I think that's what it's. Yeah. Okay, revelatory conniption about it last year when he first played it, but I never got around to starting it. I know it's well loved by all four of you, a rare achievement for a game to have you all in agreement, but I just want to point out that despite your collective praise, I think you're underselling it. In the first few hours of the game, it's made me howl with laughter. Remember, some of my... James, what are you doing exactly?
I'm editing the grammar of the email. Go on.
Why?
I can do it on the fly, James.
Yeah, but Matt's trying to read it. He now can't read it because you're fucking editing it. No,
James, this is not the time. Maybe
we'll come to this later, right? I'm sure it'll come up like, what's going on with you lately, mate? Seriously, what's going on with you lately?
I'm trying to be helpful. It's like I thought
I can hear it in your voice. You're not trying
James,
to be helpful.
right? I'm convinced now that James just wants out.
Yeah.
He just wants out of the show. He's done. He's finished. He's trying everything he can. He doesn't want to quit. He just wants to get.
He wants us to fire him. It's just going to be enough of a twat until we say, James, you've got to go.
This is. We'll come to this later. Go on.
You finished editing, James, or
no? Continue with the email, Matt.
In the first few hours of the game, it's made me howl with laughter. I remember some of my own darker moments and made me consider eugenics from the perspective of a racist. I've laughed, cried, and died while attempting to punch a 10-year-old meth head. But more than anything, the writing in this game is utterly superb, to the point where it has dialogue trees and answers in a conversation and match what I would say in that situation is quite astonishing. Were it not for the pod's rabid enthusiasm, I'd likely have passed this one over. But I'm so glad I started it. And yes, I failed the first speech check. And yes, it was hilarious. That's from Mike.
Cool.
Well, I'm so glad you're playing it, Mike. And I think I'm not sure if I said this on the pod or off air, but I'm so excited for the console release and hear all the conversations start up again about this game. Because
I've been thinking about that game a lot this week. I don't know why.
It happens.
I think I will replay it when it comes out on console.
Same here.
And if I can't. I want to play completely differently, basically. I'm not like I remember everything I did in the first game exactly, but I want to try and just instantly try and go from a totally different direction.
Because what's cool is that, usually with games like this, you think, but if I do a second playthrough, that's basically the dickhead playthrough, isn't it? Whereas I think with this...
you could be nothing but a dickhead, that's the problem.
Well, you could, but I think just being essentially still trying to do the right... in quote marks thing, but just with a different skill set would still be really interesting. And just perceiving the world a different way and things going wrong in different ways and having to deal with it. I think that'd be really
because
cool.
When you start a game, there's like 3 character types you can be with with their own skill sets, and then or you can choose your own. And I did choose my own, and maybe the points I put into each skill arguably might have made me like a sort of middle of the road character. So it'd be interesting to go for one of the other character types.
And I think going for a character, there was a discussion in the Discord about this yesterday, and I was saying it's interesting that I don't think anyone really goes for the physical attributes, because obviously everyone goes into Disco Elysium thinking, oh, well, this is a game all about dialogue and conversations, and someone told me there's basically no fighting in it, so why would I make myself tough or whatever? Whereas actually... having played through it, it's like, no, all that physical stuff still plays into conversations, interactions.
You need to open those doors. You need to open those doors. Get those doors open.
Exactly.
You can't talk to a door, Sean.
No.
You can't talk to a smash.
You say that. You can.
You can actually literally talk to doors in it. You're absolutely right.
That is it for feedback. If you want to leave us feedback, go to tcgs.co/deartcgs.
Cool. James, news.
Okay, so yeah, we're going to start off with something which is not so great, which is that 3 more Ubisoft executives have stepped down due to what they're calling a toxic culture. So this is the Chief Creative Officer, Sergei Hasko, Managing Director of the Canadian studios, Yanis Mallar, and its Global Head of HR, Cécile Cornet. They're no longer going to be in those roles. So they've said that they've stepped down following what they're calling the initiation of a rigorous review that the company initiated in response to recent allegations and accusations of misconduct and inappropriate behaviour. So there was a report in the French newspaper Libération yesterday which identified this Hasko as playing a central role in the company's problems, and he said that a lot of the sort of most toxic behaviour came from that sort of area. And then so Yves Guillemot has come out and he said Ubisoft has fallen short in its obligation to guarantee a safe and inclusive workplace environment for its employees. They said this is unacceptable, as toxic behaviours are in direct contrast to the values on which I have never compromised and never will. Then he said, I'm committed to implementing profound changes across the company to improve and strengthen our workplace culture. Moving forward, as we collectively embark on a path leading to a better Ubisoft, it is my expectation that leaders across the company manage their teams with the utmost respect. I also expect them to work to drive the change we need, always thinking of what is best for Ubisoft and all its employees. So the stories of the misconduct, though, are not just limited to this group. There's also been, in the Paris headquarters, Tommy Francois has also been placed on disciplinary leave because of this. And, I mean, in general, this is just a terrible situation that seems to be engulfing the company at the moment.
I think what's been really shocking about this is, so obviously, a couple of weeks back, we knew there'd been some Ubisoft employees that, there'd been allegations around, and it's just discovering how up and down the company this seems to be, and how it just seems to be an inherent part of the culture, has just been really shocking, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. And I see some reactions to the comments or the announcements that Ubisoft have made, and it's obviously been very aggressive back to them, but it is also important to remember that it's such a huge company, and I have no doubt that there are people working in that company that are looking at this stuff going, what the fuck, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely. And this is, we'll get onto this in a bit, but you don't want to fall into that trap that with the Naughty Dog stuff, and there were so many people just being like, fuck that game, who cares? Last of Us 2, sort of feeling like they were defending the employees by shitting on the game. Yeah. And you don't want to get into that territory of being like, fuck Ubisoft, because there are still probably literally thousands of people there who have worked really fucking hard and want you to enjoy the things they've made. But you also don't want to just ignore this stuff, and you don't want to just be like, no, well, fuck it.
Well, this is it. Let's get to this conversation, right? Mm-hmm. So, this week we had planned to do a talks over for the Ubisoft Forward, what they called their direct, a stream of marketing content that they put out there for their upcoming games. It went out on Sunday evening, I believe.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yesterday evening. I wasn't part of this really because I didn't know if I was going to be able to join you guys, right? So I sort of said, you just crack on, do what you want. You enjoy it. You have a nice time, okay?
Treat yourself.
I'm not going to be there, so you just let loose. And then I saw a string of texts going on in a group chat, but I was quite busy yesterday, so I didn't get to read it. And then later on, I'd read that you'd decided and announced not to go ahead with it, which of course I fully support. Because Matt, you raised the question, okay, where do we go from here though? There has to be some sort of stance, it can't be, hey, because of all these allegations we're not going to do this talks over, we're sort of boycotting their marketing, but on the show go, hey, look what they announced, doesn't it look great? Where this has been quite a challenging conversation for us, because I don't know what to do. As I say, it's a huge company with loads of people there, and people that have put their heart and souls into these games, and do they deserve to lose their sort of do they deserve to have what they've been working on be
just ignored,
tainted, to be tarnished by but at the same time, the people that are making the money, like all of this toxic culture is aimed directly up at the top of Ubisoft. So it's kind of like, do we want to promote products that are being made in this environment? And it's something that's played on my mind, but it's also something that I don't really know where I sit with it.
Yeah, it's really difficult. It's really difficult to deal with, because when we the massive load of allegations, I think it's like a translation from that French publication that James mentioned. When that all came out, and we obviously discussed it in the group, and I was like, God, this is obviously abhorrent. It's horrendous. And I think I think Sean first said, okay, we should cancel talks over, and I said, well, if I'm going to be absolutely 100% honest, but that wasn't my first thought. But I absolutely support. If you guys feel strong enough about it, then we will absolutely do that. But what we need to think about, if this was other allegations with another company, and maybe a smaller company, or if a company wasn't about to have their showcase that evening, would we still do the same? I don't want us to be like judging the severity of accusations, and that affects our decision. It's very difficult to go from.
Where's the line? We didn't stop talking about Naughty Dog.
Exactly.
We even did a specific podcast for The Last of Us 2.
Mm-hmm.
And there was allegations of horrendous work conditions there. So where do we sit with that?
We need to be solid about it.
That's where we had the main discussion, though, wasn't it? It was about it's the idea that we can. So if you look at something like The Last of Us Part 2, you can I think we can agree that you can criticize something. You can look at something critically as like a game that's come out or something like that, without it being part of like a promotional event. This is where I began to feel, and I think Sean and Matt as well, like we all kind of agreed that it was like we didn't really want to like support promotion for something here. Like you can critique like games that Ubisoft are coming out, we can talk about them, but at this point, we didn't feel it was the right thing to really like help them with their promotion. With things.
And it was like the bit I found interesting was. So James and I were saying that the reason this seems worse than some of the allegations we've seen already was that, because it appeared to be so endemic to the culture of the company, right? Yeah. And it was like pretty much encouraged or at least ignored by people who should be, sorting it. And to us that seemed worse, but then Matt made the point that it's like, well, you can't just be like, oh, well, these allegations of abuse aren't as bad. Therefore, that's fine, and we should, and he's quite right. But I think once we drew that distinction between, there is critiquing a game that has been released and actively taking part in what is essentially a marketing campaign, that sort of fell into place for us after that, I think, didn't it? So I think we said, it's not that it's not like, fuck Ubisoft, we're going to boycott their games, we're not going to talk about it. I mean, I wouldn't even call us not doing the stream, I wouldn't even call it a boycott. I just didn't want to do it.
That's exactly how I felt.
That's the feeling that it's got to be, because I mean the reason we're having this conversation is because I guess we can, we're not IGN, we're not GameSpot, we're not like a big website that's we're finding our feet with all this stuff ourselves, and you got to understand that we're confused by everything. We don't necessarily know what to do. We're trying to.
We're learning every day and trying to find our way through all this. I mean, this has been constant for the last few weeks, and particularly in games media and games industry. So every day we're like, okay, how do we deal with this? What does this mean for our content, for what we say, what we do? Yeah, we're constantly learning and trying to understand it better.
I think Sean's stance of the fact, again, we are in a pretty decent position to just say, I don't want to do it. And maybe that's enough. Maybe it's not. And I'm sure there's people out there that think we should be put our foot down more and make bigger statements or whatever. But I think maybe Sean's view of, I just don't want to do this. We don't have to. That's the good thing.
Yeah.
Maybe we're a fanzine. That's what it is. Mm-hmm. We're all gamers with full-time jobs. We're not run by a company that has to rely on anything like this. So if we if we don't want to do it, we just don't do it. Like, I want to talk about the new Watch Dogs because it looks fucking brilliant.
But as you say, and
it's
yeah.
easier. It's easier to wipe out. It's easier to sort of say no and make a stance when it's like, you know, one guy working on a game and he's a piece of shit. You know, do you know what I'm saying? Like, if it's like a you know, something like that. But whereas it's this huge company, there's this big problem, and we don't like that, and it's like, fuck, man, fuck that. That's awful. But at the same time, what do we do? Just wipe it off, or do we say, look, we're the fanzine thing? Is that a cop out to say we're the fanzine thing, and you know, if we don't want to do it, we just won't do it? Like, is that a cop out? Because it don't feel like it to me.
It means that we're not beholden. It's not like we have. It's not like we're not like we have an agreement with Ubisoft to cover the conference. It's not like we're doing any of that stuff. We're not doing hashtag ad. So we are in control about what we cover. And I don't necessarily think, you know, saying, well, because we're small or because we're this, that, and the other, that means we can or cannot. Ultimately, we're in control of what we do, and so it doesn't matter about the size of us. We're in control, and we say what we're comfortable with. And like I said, when I first heard this stuff, I didn't initially think, okay, let's not cancel it. But you know, after discussing with you guys, it's obviously the right thing to do. So we have the control. I think is the most important thing.
So all I'm saying is that if you're listening to this and you're wondering why are they talking about this game when they've boycotted that, or you know, this, that, and the other, the answer is, we don't really know. We're kind of going on feeling. You know, we're kind of going on impulse decisions, and maybe that's the wrong way of doing it, but right now I think that's the only thing that's steering us through. We'd like to think that you know us well enough. You know, I mean, this might be the first show or whatever, but we like to think that you know us well enough to know that, you know, we're not we do take this stuff to heart, and we do, you know, get upset with injustices in all sorts of industries and stuff. I mean, I hope that we do the right thing.
I've also really appreciated the conversation, like the fact that we can have conversations like this as well, though, because absolutely. When I first heard this and you saw it, my initial reaction was just like, don't want to do this, don't want to play any Ubisoft games, the whole sort of thing, and then it really, the conversation we had, really, made me think about, like the initial gut reaction to have things is maybe not always, exactly correct as well. It's it's good to talk things through.
Yeah, definitely.
And well, I mean, initially my gut reaction was James is trying to get out of doing something again. But we did do a stream in the end, didn't we? We replaced the talks over with one of our, hugely popular, I'll say that, multiplayer sessions, online multiplayer sessions. Right, because again, I was not involved in any of this at all. Because I didn't know I was going to be there. There was text messages all day flying back and forth. I didn't know what was going on. Sean, you were sort of the main man setting all this, last minute multiplayer session up. What can you take us through the events of what happened yesterday?
So this started Saturday night. Crucially, we'd said. He said, we weren't sure exactly what we were going to do instead, but we said, right, we're not going to do the Ubisoft thing. We'll announce that in the morning. And we'd come up with a vague list of multiplayer games we might play, which included Forza Horizon 4.
Yeah,
great game.
Okay.
Sea of Thieves.
When can I start to come back on this?
Yeah, James is the answer. Sure.
What, sorry?
Continue.
Okay, right, yeah. Sea of Thieves, Forza Horizon 4, and I think we said Worms and maybe The Escapists 2. And James made a point of oh yeah, I'll need to get these downloading. And I was like, right, cool. Didn't think any further chasing was needed.
This is absolute ridiculous, but go on.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Because I've got timestamps on all this shit, so go on.
Oh, he's swearing. He's swearing straight away.
And then, what was it, about midday on Sunday, or maybe sort of late morning on the Sunday, James was like, oh, so what are we doing tonight? And I was like, well, get those games that we already mentioned downloaded. And you said, all right, okay, well, I'll do it when I get in. And I thought, that going to give us enough time or whatever? You know,
he was texting me saying, "Can you download something to my Xbox, please? Can you download that to my Xbox?" I was like,
you could, James, from using the app.
No, that's a point.
No,
you can't because we're doing game share, aren't we?
So I think he sends it to mine and I send it to his. So I tried to send it to his, and I went, "Look, is your Xbox in rest mode?" He was like, "I don't know, I don't think so."
No, that's not true. Again, totally twisting everything just to try and make you look bad. It's bullshit.
That's exactly what you said.
It came to about, 3:30 Sunday afternoon, and James was like, right, we've got a problem. I've started all the games downloading, it's going to take forever.
So, I've started them downloading at 3:30.
Yeah.
No, this is complete bullshit.
It's not.
Okay, tell the story. You can come back.
And then we were like, right, James, so set Forza going first, and then we can see how long that's going to take, and then we'll know whether or not we have to bin it, right? So James starts Forza downloading, and it says it's going to take 11 hours. The stream was, provisionally, we said it was going to be at 8 PM, because that's when that's when the Ubisoft thing was going to be. And we were replacing that. And I was like, right, well, it's not quick enough, is it? And then James says, I'll plug the Ethernet cable in, it's going a bit quicker now. I was like, well, is it going 3 times as fast? Because that's as fast as it needs to go in order to be downloaded by the time we do the stream, James. So
have we now got gigabit internet, James?
And then,
that's what we're going to need.
So then I was just left to trawl through all the Game Pass stuff to see if anything else was suitable, which nothing really was, and we'll get to that in a bit. And it was just like why didn't you just straight away, James, just say, look, I've forgotten to do the downloads. I'm really sorry.
I can explain.
Let me look at other things we could. It was like you were just pretending to be like, oh, look, I'm downloading it. Oh, it's going to take 11 hours. I'll wait and see what they say about that when it's clearly going to take
bullshit.
too long.
This is complete bollocks. This is all total bollocks. It's
so long story short, right? Yeah. Long story short, Kat, to get into the point, last night's stream was a fucking disaster. we tried to play about 8 games, hardly any of them were worthy. We played fucking Worms. That was just awful.
Listen. Worms,
you can't defend it.
Worms clearly didn't work, but it is good. I've had some really good times playing that.
Fine, I'm sure you have, but with a stream with me, Matt, James, it was a terrible decision to even launch that. Even though I won. So it was a complete disaster. James was getting all upset, saying it wasn't his fault. James, you're right to reply. Let's hear it.
Okay, so one of these games that we were talked about was Forza Horizon 4. Now, I checked back the time, when we talked about this. Mm-hmm. I first mentioned Forza Horizon 4 on Sunday morning at 9:22. Okay? That was when I said, how about Forza Horizon 4, ? I received no response from anybody until Sean did at 9:31. But nothing from Matt, nothing from David. So I didn't know if at this stage of this... Can you just let me finish? I didn't know if this had been... I know you weren't involved. I'm talking in general, anyway. So I didn't know whether this had been agreed or not. Then at 9:31, Sean responded and he said, just realised the TCGS skin is out of date, but up for this. Again, nothing from Matt, so I didn't know if he was interested or not. Shut up and let me finish, because this is like you wouldn't let me interrupt Sean, so just let me finish with this. So then again, nothing. So then I waited until it was 1:41 in the afternoon on the Sunday, and I didn't know what games I needed to download by this point because no one had said. Nobody has replied to any of this stuff, so I had no idea.
No, you just said I replied to you at 9:31 saying yes, I'm up for doing Forza.
Yes. Yeah, but you didn't say let's definitely going to be on the playlist. I didn't know because nobody said.
Sean to fucking sign a document.
Because that's the whole point. Even if I'd have started it at that point, it still wouldn't have been ready anyway.
By that point anyway.
We'll never know, James. What the fuck is going in Canterbury with internet?
Anyway, can I just fucking finish? Can I finish it? So anyway, so then nothing. So then I asked, okay, what game should I download at 1:41 PM? Again, only Sean replied saying, which ones we should download, and then that was it. But then the trouble was I could. At 1:41, I couldn't download anything because I wasn't at home. So then I had to call Dave and say, "Can you download this stuff for me?" And he did, and that was that. This is not my fault. How is this my fault that this didn't happen? There was never an agreed list.
There was also the bit where, so Sea of Thieves. And I said, well, hang on, have you not even got Sea of Thieves installed? And you said, I don't use my Xbox. Neither do I, James. That's why it's still got Sea of Thieves on it from the last time we all played on the Xbox.
Okay, should we also talk about Descendants? Should we talk about, how we downloaded that, or Descendants, or whatever it was called?
Yeah.
And now we're about to start that. That didn't work on your Xbox, did it? Because you hadn't updated it.
I mean, but I had loaded it up that afternoon to check if there was a patch, and for whatever reason, it didn't trigger.
And we still had to wait for it to download, didn't we?
Yeah.
It still took ages. This is all down to shoddy, trying to work out what the games list was going to be. No one was clear. Nobody said what they were going to be, and it was all just up in the air until 1:31 in the afternoon on the Sunday.
When you said Forza, and Sean's up for that, what did you think then?
I just thought, what does Matt think? Does he want to play that? Does David want to play that? I don't know.
Considering you were going out, shouldn't you have gone, Matt, should I download Forza or what?
Or just grab it anyway, because what does it cost you to...
Yeah. Just start downloading. Bang, it's done.
Electricity and bandwidth, Sean.
Electricity and bandwidth.
You're not on data cap,
You've got 40 fucking switches. You don't need to worry about the fucking electricity bill to download Forza Horizon 4.
But Dave, what if there's 4 updates to the app? Yeah, it's really gonna mess them up.
Jesus, James, I don't know how you could turn this on anyone else. Well, okay, so that's that. But what about Sea of Thieves? That was agreed the night before, and you hadn't downloaded that either.
I don't think it was. I need to check that, because I don't know if it was, because it was mentioned. But again, there was no list. Nobody said, this is the games we're going to play. So why not?
Yeah, so that's what I said. So I just grabbed all the ones we'd mentioned as we mentioned them.
Yeah, me too. And Sunday afternoon, which is no way that I could have downloaded them all in that time. It's impossible.
Well, it's not impossible, because I downloaded all those games by the time that I got home an hour after.
That's because you've got internet that works.
He's on 56k modem.
Sea of Thieves was definitely mentioned Sunday evening.
Sea of Thieves may well have been. But then
your big excuse for not downloading Forza is that it wasn't agreed, why didn't you have Sea of Thieves on the hard drive?
Sea of Thieves was never confirmed either. It was just again.
Yeah,
all of these were floated as suggestions, but nobody, Sean, you were in charge of this. You should have stepped up and just said, "These are the games we're playing."
All right.
But
Sean said yes.
Future, I'll just give you a series of specific orders and deadlines.
Exactly. Okay. That's exactly what you should be doing.
Okay, James. Let's play devil's advocate here, right? Say in a crazy alternative universe, I believed you weren't at fault for any of that, right? And you were completely justified to not have any of those games on your hard drive by the time we started playing, right? Why then did you spend the hour and a half that we streamed just sitting on your iPad, not concentrating on the game, completely going quiet, completely ignoring things and not getting involved with the stream?
Because we were playing Worms, and it's one of the worst games ever made.
Yeah, but because we're playing Worms because you didn't download those games, so you'd have put the effort in, at least. I fucked this stream up, so
absolutely
I'll just ignore it. Here's my theory. You're done with the show and you want out. Because do you remember the bonus show last week when we told you to prepare something, and then 3 hours before we started recording you went, I didn't do that, someone else can do that.
Totally ridiculous. Totally ridiculous that was.
Is it?
Yep.
Is it?
It was, because that was something that required preparation. Previous episodes required no preparation, which was very useful for you.
I know, but we let you know 3 days in advance that you needed to prepare something.
And I did.
In fact,
and then I said to you, I can't find anything on this.
On the day of the recording, not 3 days prior when we
3 days after we told you. And in fact, actually, we'd asked you to sort this out after recording the show the month prior. Also,
but we didn't even record on that night in the end.
It took me and Sean 40 minutes to get the podcast required and all the information. 40 minutes.
I'm not a connoisseur of cooking podcasts.
All right, Sean didn't find that stuff, but he was looking and I was looking, and between the two of us, we had that all of 40 minutes. That's all it took, James.
I've been very busy.
Okay.
That's fine, but tell us straight away.
I did.
Okay. No, you didn't.
Okay.
You literally didn't. Okay, James, look, let's just wrap this up now, because people are sick of this conversation. Let me just wrap this up. Do you want to continue being on part of TCGS and a presenter on the computer game show?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, he has to think about it. He's not...
Actions speak louder than words. So let's see how you progress from here. We've highlighted the problems. I feel you're at a stage where you're ready to leave the show. Let's see how you get on over the next month. See if you start pulling your weight and getting involved a little bit more. Let's see what happens, right? And then maybe we'll review it on a show in for what is this? This is 210, right? 214. We have a little review.
All right.
See how you're getting on. Touch base.
Yeah.
Should we touch base, James?
We'll have a little catch up. Just. Are you
having a restructure? Are you? Is this what's going on?
Get a few more one-to-ones in the diary, just to
I'm thinking instead of 4 presenters, we have 3. I don't know about that restructure, guys. What do you reckon?
It's a realignment. It's not a restructure. It's a
good point.
Refocusing efforts.
Yeah.
Okay, if you want to
efficiency is, and that's what I want.
You can stream Deadly Premonition 2 instead, then.
Sean, you're not going to lose your place. Matt, you're not going to lose your place. James, I'm not going to lose my place. So let's see how it goes. Right, okay, if you want to see that shit show of a stream last night, it's on our YouTube channel.
We made
TCGS
it work. We made lemonades, I think.
I think we did.
I think it was all right.
Pretty
sour
lemonade.
But it was funny what you said. What you said, Sean. Like, our previous multiplayer stream, loads of new games. Every one of them was an absolute banger because we had a whole stream playing them.
Yeah.
Last night, we were like, Worms. It's not. Descendants. It's not really.
Jackbox.
Next one.
That was the best bit. Is that we started with Jackbox and we kind of went, it doesn't really work over a stream and stuff. It's kind of weird. And then by the end, I think we were like, should have just done a whole.
Should have come back to that.
Yeah, we should have done, really.
Because we each had to watch the stream to see the game.
Yeah.
We promise it will never be that bad again. Probably not going to be able to keep that promise, but we're going to promise anyway. Look, I don't keep my promises. Fucking deal with it, Sean. Right, okay, where are we? News. Next news story.
We're on the news, but yeah.
What?
No, I forgot we're in the news. We got so lost in other stuff.
In the news, yeah. Come on, James.
Okay, well, anyway, former Ubisoft developers have formed a new studio, which is called Beans. And, this is Gabriella Salvatore and also Dean Evans. They've launched a new studio, which is hiring in Toronto. And, they've got a new project that's being published by Devolver Digital.
I was going to say, this was on the Devolver thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Who watched this?
No, I didn't actually. I wanted to, but I didn't get around to it. And I have loved their stuff in the past, but I haven't seen this one yet.
I'd be keen to see what you think of this one because I've always been sort of appreciative of what they're trying.
Quite complimentary of it. You've never. No, it's always been me moaning about it, and you guys sort of tutting.
Yeah, like I've always been appreciative of what they're trying to do, even if I don't like the execution of it. Fucking hell, they're just doubling down on it every year now, and. Oh, I don't know.
Do you think the joke's worn thin now?
Absolutely.
I think the joke worn thin on the first time.
No. I mean, I've enjoyed everyone up to now. Like, I admire they're doing something different. That's not just another thing. There's still got game announcements, but there's a bit of a narrative as well.
It's
a
bit different, but it's like.
But they could still do it loads better. Like,
I mean, Jesus Christ, the sketches in between the games were so long, and the games they showed looked brilliant.
Yep.
Right, that one where you play as like the alien thing on the ship.
Oh yeah, Carrion.
That looks incredible.
Yep.
Looks so good. And you kind of jump the shark when you start getting like Phil Spencer involved and people like that. It's like, oh, come on. But I mean, this one, the sketches were going on for about 10 minutes.
It was the pacing, wasn't it? It's just horrendous.
Yeah.
Like, every sketch, 30 seconds in, you're like, right, I get it now. And then there's another 5 minutes of it. And it's just, I don't know. I don't know if it just needs, I don't know if it's the writing or it just needs better editing or what, but.
When you want to watch comedy like that, it always needs to seem like we're giving a real fuck you here and not people are loving this. Like, it's got to have that fuck you feeling, not the, oh, God, isn't this great? This is gone really crazy.
Like when Adult Swim really started going off the rails and sort of Tim and Eric Andre and stuff. And there are bits where you're like, I'm not even sure that they're sure this is funny, but they're trying it anyway. But with the Devolver stuff, it feels like, it's like they're sitting around going, oh, this will be fucking great. This is so subversive. I love it. But I hate this because I don't want to shit on Devolver because they're great and they put out loads of amazing stuff.
Really great, yeah.
I just, I'm just done with their not E3 stuff.
They are one of the best, aren't they? At the moment, Devolver.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the amount of quality games they've brought out, it's and their showing this year was, amazing again. There's so many games there that you think this just feels so unique and good and interesting, and it's not a situation of you want to get behind it. I just can't, man. I can't with that stuff.
Yeah.
But there you go. All right, maybe it's different tastes, isn't it? Different people, different needs.
Yeah.
So,
Similar.
okay.
And then also, there was the Ubisoft Forward thing. I mean, there were some games announced. What should we do? Are we going to talk about them?
There weren't many. We might as well go through them. There's only 4, wasn't there? 4 or 5?
I thought it was. So there was Far Cry, wasn't there? That was.
So Far Cry obviously that was brand new, but it had been leaked.
Yeah.
So
did they show anything from that, or was it just a trailer?
It was just a trailer.
It was a couple of cinematics. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
I mean, I'm excited about it because it's got it's got what's the actor's name?
Giancarlo Esposito, isn't it?
Yeah, and he is obviously amazing in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. He's an amazing actor. I love the character he plays on that, and this feels like he's doing much more of the same. And so I'm excited to see him in the game. But we know nothing else really about the game other than that. I mean, the idea of a new Far Cry doesn't excite me, so I don't. But
they need to do something completely new, don't they? And they're starting to do the whole, the religious cult thing is really important in this one, which obviously they sort of tapped out on the last one.
This one isn't about that. This is more about
this is like a political kind of thing.
It's like rebellion and revolution stuff, and like a.
Right, okay, that's what they were hinting at. I only saw a headline saying, but they were saying this is part of the story or something.
Well, it says here this focuses on Anton Castillo, main antagonist and dictator of a fictional country, Yara, and in San Diego. The country is in the midst of a revolution, and you were part of the rebellion. Playing as a character named Danny Rojas. I think the actor who plays him, he was the lead in is it Coco, the Pixar film?
All right,
really?
Yeah. It's the same kid, same guy.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, I knew Far Cry doesn't excite me, but I'm interested because it's got an actor in. But we'll see.
It needs to be different. It needs to be really different. That formula's been done to death now. It needs something new. But
they gave a release date as well, 18th of Feb 2021. So it's a while off now. But yeah,
next gen. Did they have a release date for Watch Dogs?
Gens? They did. They have release dates for all these big games, which is definitely one of the big positive things.
So that's coming 29th of October.
That was the one that stuck out for me. That looks incredible. And I mean, obviously, because he's set in London, that helps. But I'm pumped for that one. As you said, I didn't play number 2, but the stuff that James and Sean have said about it is sort of like, okay, well, if they expand on that, it's becoming its own thing now. It's not, Watch Dogs, the original Watch Dogs was so serious that they seem to be relaxing on that, and they're creating something a little bit more unique. So I'll be interested to see how that turns out. Did they talk about For Honor? Because I was skimming through it. Were they actually talking about For Honor?
No, that was not.
Right, okay.
I mean, they literally talked about 4 or so games.
No, there was. So they talked about Assassin's Creed, obviously, which has now got a release date for 17th of November, although no release date for the Series X and PS5 versions, but they are coming. Okay. They also talked about Hyperscape, which is that battle royale game that they're trying to push. There was also.
I really thought they were going to say here's a console beta, but they've just said that there's a PC beta. So it was a closed beta before. Now it's an open beta on PC. But I really thought they'll say here's a console one, but no such luck.
And there's also a 30-tier battle pass, which sounds very exciting. And then there's this other game which I don't know what it is, but maybe somebody else does. Is it Brawlhalla?
This is already out.
It's their Smash Brothers. I was going to say copy. That's not fair, but it's that sort of thing. It's free to play.
Is it a mobile game?
It's coming to mobile on the 6th of August with crossplay apparently.
And it's a console game, but it's coming to mobile.
Yeah, it's got full crossplay across everything, which is nice. But I can't see myself. I mean, it's also
got Sam Fisher in it, right?
Has it?
No, you're thinking about different. You're thinking about Elite Squad, which is another mobile game they announced. That was actually announced. This was announced actually E3 2019, but they had like a small cinematic or small trailer for that, and it's got Sam Fisher in it, and nothing else is really shown. other than like a bit of a scene where there's like a skirmish at a doorway, and then it says, it's coming soon. You can download.
Best place to have a skirmish, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, if I was going to choose one place, it would be a doorway.
Exactly, every time.
I'm not stupid. I know combat. I know what to do. I've seen SA. But they said nothing about other than the fact you can register, and if you pre-register, you get a certain gun and whatnot. But yeah.
Okay.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla looks amazing, I think. And annoyingly, I feel like every time I see a new Far Cry as well, but every time I see a new Assassin's Creed trailer, I'm like, this looks amazing, and I ultimately never get it. So I'm not sure what this is going to do different, but it does look incredibly impressive. All the stuff it's doing.
I saw it and I thought this really looks like The Witcher 3, but with combat that works obviously probably better.
That'd be good.
But I doubt the storytelling will be anywhere near as good.
Because I've seen the fans, capital T, capital F, kicking off because it doesn't look like Assassin's Creed anymore, and I'm like, yeah, good, fine. Odyssey wasn't really, was it?
No, that was a big step forward, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'll go back to Watch Dogs looks amazing again, but I haven't played the first two, and
you won't need to.
I think you'll be alright.
No. I wasn't going to say, am I going to not get the story? I'm just like, the first two, at the time I was like, wow, this looks impressive, but I mean, and this one looks great.
Am I missing something as well? I might be mad, but I'm sure they're showing Kennington in East London. Kennington's more west, isn't it? Isn't it nearer to Battersea than it is? It's nowhere near Southwark. It's weird, but yeah, you look at the size of the map; it looks way bigger than I initially thought. Okay. I was taking screenshots of the trailer and zooming in to see if the Ben's in there. We know that there's 3 football teams in there at least at the moment, so and pretty sure Millwall's in there called the Southwark Lions, which looks great. I can't wait.
It's interesting that there's no lead character in this, and it's basically. You recruit.
There's got to be an initial character, hasn't there?
I suppose but it could just randomly roll you the initial character, couldn't it?
I suppose it could,
yeah, but then you basically recruit tons of people, and then depending on the mission, you can bring any of those people in, with different skill sets and
I like the fact
that
all that stuff looks completely believable, because what they did, they showed you the same cutscene with 2 different characters, 2 completely different characters, and it wasn't trying to make it look like a completely different cutscene. You could tell that the lines are just different from the different characters. The character you're talking to always says the same thing, but so it didn't try and hide what they were doing. It was kind of like, you could swap these characters out. The story will still be the same, but the reactions would be different. It's being kind of honest with that stuff, which I find very interesting, because that's definitely not Ubisoft. Usually you look at the trailer and then the game comes out and you're like, what? But yeah, I mean, I will never get over that Rainbow Six Siege first trailer compared to what we got. I highly recommend you look it up on YouTube. It's incredible. Yeah.
I thought overall it was a good conference. In terms of a good conference overall, I think it was it went through quite snappily. They had little bits where small introductions by developers and a very small section about Siege. I think it was a well-paced conference. So there wasn't really, because Far Cry had leaked, there wasn't really any new announcements. They did say at the end that there was going to be another Ubisoft Forward later in the year. So there'll be another one coming. So maybe because we heard nothing about. Is it Gods and Monsters, Beyond Good and Evil 2, and that roller derby game? I think that was Ubisoft. And probably other stuff I'm forgetting. So, I mean, if Far Cry 6 hadn't leaked, maybe I'd be like, oh, wow, awesome, a new Far Cry game. But as it was, there was nothing really new in this.
No, the only other stuff we got was just also small updates on other games that are already out, Just Dance stuff for that. The Crew 2 is getting an update. And Trials Rising is, and also Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and that was it.
We always praise Ubisoft for sticking with games and improving them and stuff. Sometimes you want to go, okay, all right, not that one.
You don't need to do another expansion for Honor or the Crew 2. Or
no, I don't think you do. I don't think you do.
To be fair, do you know, I know nothing about the Crew 2. I know nothing about the Crew 2.
I remember it got slated when it first came out. Yeah,
I remember that I didn't like the first one, but I'm sat here slagging off the second, and actually I don't know a single thing about it. But no, you're right, Matt. The For Honor was really interesting.
For Honor has got a very passionate fan base and stuff. But
yeah. Okay, all right.
Okay, so that was Ubisoft Forward, and then Microsoft's have been talking about how they feel about the upgrades for games that between generations, and they've said that they're against publishers charging for Xbox Series X upgrades. So what they've been saying is that developers should offer this free next gen upgrades, either via smart delivery or through their own scheme. And the thing that I felt that was interesting from this was that they said that if games don't use smart delivery, then you won't be able to share save data across generations, which I wasn't aware of.
Yeah, and you won't be able to opt in later on. Is that what I said?
Yeah, it's a one-off. It's you do this now, or if you don't, then you can never do it. So yeah, which is.
But do you not also think with their terminology, this is we kicked off at the NBA 2K one thing last week that the 2K games have done, where you can buy an £85 version to get the one that works across both platforms. But they're basically doing what Microsoft have said. You either do smart delivery, or you will have another version entirely that allows you to do that. So they have done it by the book.
Yeah. They're saying they shouldn't be charging extra for it.
Yeah.
Well, no, but I think in their terms, it's you do this, or you have another version entirely, and that's basically what they've done.
In their terms is one thing, but they're clearly saying that if you're doing a version for the old gen and a version for this gen, you shouldn't be charging extra to upgrade.
But this is, it's like you were saying last week, though, isn't it? They're saying what they would prefer, but they know they can't actually put their foot down because publishers will just walk away to Sony.
I'll say this though, and maybe I'm missing something here. They don't have to be putting that statement out there, do they? That seems quite pro-consumer. That is quite a strong statement. They don't have to. It might not make a blind bit of fucking difference, but it feels like they're having a pop
look like the good guys, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why they're doing it.
After last week's discussion, from the tone, it felt like, Microsoft have fucked this up. No one's doing it, but they need to say, actually, no, we are trying to do it, but we obviously have to give some sort of leeway to publishers and developers.
But what I'm saying is that they don't have to come out with that statement and risk relationships with third-party developers. Because that's what they're doing. If they sling dirt at third-party devs for this stuff, it's not going to be I'm sure they've had a few phone calls going, "What the fuck, man? Why have you got to say that? Why have you got to make us look like money-grabbing arseholes? We got a business to run." They could have just kept quiet. So, I was quite surprised to see them comment on this, to be honest.
I mean, it might be because it's getting away from them a bit, because this was supposed to be one of the big advantages of Series X, wasn't it? Was that you could buy stuff with complete confidence that things would work, and then it's pretty clear that a lot of publishers are not playing ball.
No one wants to do this,
with this.
I wonder if that'll change, the whole... do you remember the pre-owned Game Pass thing that you had to buy? If you bought a game pre-owned on the 360...
They tried that for a while, didn't they?
You'd have to buy a thing to activate it or whatever.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was. That was weird.
Did that actually happen in the end? No, right, no.
EA did it with a bunch of their games.
That was the season pass before. Now the season pass name is sort of transformed into something else.
It was called something specific. I can't remember what it was.
This is back when, even if you had a disc copy, it would then attach to your account, right? And then you would have to...
Yeah. And if whoever bought that originally used that code, then, you have to pay it, whatever it is, to use that stuff.
Transfer the license or whatever,
The online pass? Was it called the online pass? Where
it wasn't like an online pass, because it was
you weren't allowed to play it online. You could play the game, but you weren't allowed to play it online unless you paid.
Because the game would come with a code in the box, wouldn't it? And it'd be you put in the code, then you could play but then so if anyone sold the game on, the code would be used already, and they'd have to buy another one.
I'm thinking about when the Xbox One was first announced, and it was all.
That was different. They wanted to have pre-owned games, but then they were still offering that you could trade games online, but then it would only work for a certain amount of time, and then you had to buy it or something. I don't know. They had some wild ideas, but I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm saying that now that sounds all right. Back then, that was never going to work. I'm not saying, back then, if we just listened to them. No, because back then...
It was too early.
No way. Yeah. Way too early. Way too early. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. But the EA stuff, it was even in single-player games, wasn't it? Because The Saboteur, it's a classic. It's a classic, but if you wanted...
Couldn't see the boobies.
If you wanted nips in it, You had to pay up
not
for
see the boobies.
Yeah, you had to pay extra. Although they do come included in the PC version, which I only found out, but pretty much as I stopped streaming it, which is probably just as well, to be honest.
See, people say that games aren't getting more expensive.
Good point. Good point. Right, not a good point. I'm joking. Let's go to the next news story.
So Sony have invested 250 million in Fortnite. What is in Epic?
Did you see
No, it's not in Fortnite, James. That's what
I read it, and then I corrected myself before I got to the end of the sentence. And so,
I might get the figures wrong, but some of these figures wrong. Some of them are right. But did you read the equivalent of what the investment was from Tencent?
Yes.
Yeah.
They invested half the amount and got 40% of the company. Yeah. Sony invested that much, so they've got 1.5%. It's like, fucking hell. How much is Epic worth now? It's crazy.
A lot of money. Yeah.
Yeah, what is the move here? What could possibly be the move?
I think, this probably means that Sony games are going to end up on Epic Game Store, aren't they? Like, as in, they've started porting.
Hasn't the distinction been drawn that this isn't PlayStation investing, it's Sony? And obviously Sony is a lot bigger than just PlayStation.
Yeah, but what are you going to do with 1.5% share?
No idea.
Fuck all, yeah? I guess you're still making money, or they're expecting it to expand.
Yeah.
Maybe we will see some sort of collaboration between Sony and the Epic Store.
Maybe.
And maybe they're expecting that to be a big thing. It's interesting, but also very odd. Yeah. But there you go.
I guess I just see them growing even more. Like, obviously, we're only really in the early days of the Epic Game Store.
That's the thing.
Well, the Epic Game Store really is like, it's got a percentage, but not a huge percentage of like the PC gaming market. If they do more, then that will grow, and ultimately, I think Sony will see their investment grow with that. But obviously, recently they had that Epic Unreal Engine sort of demo, and that basically, publicised the stuff that PS5 can do. Obviously, there's going to be plenty more stuff like that in the future as well.
Yeah, it's a strange one. All right.
So also, Capcom's saying that their game sales are now like 80% digital, and that's just going up all the time at the moment. And they've got an objective now of getting to like 90%. And it is kind of crazy because like last year it was 53.3% of sales were like digital, and now it's like up to 80%. And it seems.
But I do wonder how much of that is a lot of people staying at home.
Yeah, it almost certainly is that. There was that, and also Monster Hunter World, like Iceborne, was apparently something that was pushing people to buy digital. I'm not sure why.
Well, that was a weird one because it's. Yeah, Iceborne was like, apparently the amount of content in it basically could have been a sequel, but it was packaged as DLC. But I think could you buy it standalone? I can't remember. But basically, the feeling was that it was DLC, even though it was essentially a game in its own right. I never played it. I should really sort that out. It came out and everyone's like, "Oh man, it's really hard," and I was like, great. So it just threw me off. But yeah, everyone thought that was DLC. I think that was the main reason.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, and then also. So, okay, this is all about Bungie and the deal they did with Activision, because Marty O'Donnell has come out and said that it was bad from the start and that everything was kind of terrible. He said there were seven. He said there were 7 of us total that made the deal with Activision. We knew it was a risk from the get-go, and it turned out to be exactly as bad as we thought it was going to be. And
in what ways?
Well, I think they probably. He doesn't actually know. The article doesn't really give a huge amount of detail about why it was really bad. The reason that they said that they went with Activision was because they could have control of their own IP, and that Activision were the only company that were willing to do that. Because he also goes on to say that Microsoft were very close to making a serious offer, and they were considering going back to Microsoft. Like at that point as well.
Isn't it implied that they really didn't want to do that as well?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that was that's kind of the implication. But in terms of why it was so terrible, it doesn't really. Yeah, the article, like the GamesIndustry.biz article, doesn't really explain it. It just sort of.
Because what's weird is that obviously, so this is Marty O'Donnell, who was the composer on Halo and on the first Destiny, and didn't he basically get kicked out?
Well,
because
he was fired without cause, in inverted commas, in 2014 because he said that Activision were interfering with the creative process for Destiny.
Okay.
So he's not happy.
Wasn't that, I mean, maybe this is all hearsay, but the story I'd read was that basically he was just being a nightmare to work with, wasn't showing up, wasn't getting anything done.
That sounds like someone I know.
So what
I'll tell you what, if you try and get any of my shares or future profit entitlement, then I'll see you in court. Because that was
you want to see your small print, man. It's hilariously weighted in our favour.
So, I don't know if that maybe colours his perception of events or not, but who knows? Interesting.
I mean, because he also gives himself an out here by saying, like, if you talk to anyone else in Bungie and they don't agree with what I'm saying, it's just because they're scared and they don't want to lose their jobs, kind of thing.
Well, why would they be? Yeah, they're not with Activision anymore. So
maybe he just had that mindset though that money don't make the world go round, and he was reaching out for a higher ground.
Higher ground. Yeah.
Never know. Okay, go on then. Next news story.
So also we've had details of multiple cancelled Valve projects have been revealed. So this comes from Jeff Keighley has done this.
It's going to piss me right off, isn't it?
Say again?
This is going to piss me right off.
Right, go on.
Because if they've cancelled fucking Left 4 Dead,
they have, yeah.
It's time for that, isn't it? It's time.
Well, the Turtle Rock are basically doing a new Left 4 Dead, aren't they?
No, everyone says that. Oh, it's basically a new Left 4 Dead. This is Warhammers. World War Z is pretty much. Just give me Left 4 Dead, actually.
Okay.
Thank you.
I mean, to be fair, I mean, obviously, the Turtle Rock did, what was it called? The one...
Evolve?
Yes.
Evolve, yeah, which wasn't that great.
Yeah,
But if we hear about what Left 4 Dead 3 was meant to be, it was an open world game set in Morocco and potentially featuring hundreds of zombies at a time, but this was deemed unworkable because of the unfinished Source 2.
Well,
I mean, open world, I don't know, I mean...
God, sorry.
And then
I've just looked. So it's called Back 4 Blood, the new Turtle Rock one, and the logo is the Left 4 Dead logo. That's a bit sad, almost, really.
I mean, the Turtle Rock was the original team who did it, and then Valve bought them, and then so.
Yeah, but there was obviously something missing. Did you play Evolve, Sean?
I played a bit of it. Was not keen.
Fuck me.
What a shame.
It was so weird.
Great idea as well. Weird. Like, really good idea. I love that sort of asynchronous multiplayer stuff.
The idea is fine, right? But Friday 13th for Dead by Daylight is a janky mess.
Yeah.
And it works better than Evolve. Evolve was like, I'm just walking about for ages. I don't really... Yeah. What's going on here?
And it was like, because obviously coming to it as a Monster Hunter fan, and it was like, oh yeah, and you'll have to like look out for like environmental cues to find out where the monster is and stuff. I was like, brilliant, that's all stuff I love in Monster Hunter. Whereas like in Monster Hunter, you can watch like where the herbivores are going and stuff, right? Because they will avoid the monster and stuff. You're like, oh shit, herbivores are going this way. It must be right. Whereas in Evolve, it was like birds. There's like a thing blinking on your HUD. Birds here, just moved. Go over here.
Yeah.
Like
tree move. Tree move. Anyway, why are we talking about that when we've got all these Valve games, the cancelled Valve games?
Do you want to know what we've got? So there was a whole bunch of these games. So there was Half-Life 3, obviously, was mentioned. And this was going to be a Source 2 engine game and using what they're calling gameplay inspiration from Left 4 Dead. It was going to use procedural generation between handcrafted story moments to create a replayable game so that you could go back and do things differently.
Change the story. That's what people want, isn't it?
They love that.
Yeah, Half-Life's famous for that.
Yeah, you imagine people moaning about Last of Us 2 and then Naughty Dog just going, play a new game, baby. It's a completely different story, baby. Get out there.
I mean, according to IGN, they even went as far as like scanning Frank Sheldon, who was the actor who was the G-Man. And they got him in, to do that, and but they said the project didn't get very far and it was dropped. But that was between 2013 and 14.
You even scanned me. How could you get that far where you're scanning me and it's still not a game? What is the matter with you? It's probably the conversation he had.
I reckon.
Yeah,
it was
certainly. Yeah.
Just like that. There was also another game that they're just calling.
Tommy Cooper.
calling RPG, and that it was apparently
called
like,
what?
it was just called RPG. That's what
it was. Codenamed RPG.
Yeah, that was the official name. We all know it, Matt. They also had another game called, I don't know. Do you reckon they were making it up? They were being interviewed by Jeff Keighley.
You say that now. There's a game down this list to give, like, okay, it sort of fits in there.
Okay, right. Imagine this: Jeff Keighley's sitting opposite, like, a team from Valve, and they're like, we don't want to tell Jeff anything, but look at him. He looks so innocent. He's basically Ryan Seacrest. Let's just make shit up. We had another game. Oh yeah, and he gets his little pen and pad out, and he goes, "Go on," called RPG. Really? Yeah, it was an RPG. Go on. What the other name?
Not only that, but there was, and then they had another one called Shooter as well, which was
Shooter.
They were taking the piss out of Jeff Keighley. Blatantly. We had another one called Football.
There's another one called Hotdog, which was another.
They definitely just come
was
from
it a
eating
2D
hot dogs.
platformer where you play as a hot dog? I hope it was.
No, it was apparently another new take on Left 4 Dead. And
they are taking the piss. They're taking the piss out of Jeff, and he's lapped it up.
Well, especially because it says purposefully codenamed so that people on the internet wouldn't know it was a Left 4 Dead game.
Okay.
No details were revealed. I mean, that's just like...
Of course they weren't. Jeff, you've fallen for it, Jeff. Go on.
There was a headset that they were working on that was called Vader. Which was apparently this was their first initial attempt to create a VR headset, and apparently it was going to cost like about $5,000, but they scrapped that because obviously too ambitious. There was something called Sim Trek, which was a VR game that was developed by the Kerbal Space Program team.
Oh yeah.
That was supposed to happen, but that got canned. There was another one called ARTI or RT or whatever, which was this was a light-hearted voxel-based game that allowed for open-ended destruction and creation in the vein of Minecraft.
Right, okay. Either the story is they were taking a piss out of Jeff, or soon Valve are going to put a statement out saying Jeff Keighley has never been to our offices. We don't know where this has all come from. He's never been here. Yeah. We wouldn't let him in. He asked us for an interview. We said no. So he's just got home and just gone, well, I'm going to write one anyway.
Yes, that's all the games that they were talking about that never happened.
Well, my opinion of Jeff Keighley is, he's obviously everywhere. He doesn't offend me. It is what it is. But I've been.
He seems like a genuinely nice guy. To be fair to him, it's just funny.
This whole so he's released this the final hours of Half-Life Alyx. He's done the final hours of games in the past. He's done that Portal and
Half-Life.
Did you do Titanfall as well? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Done a bunch of games, and like I bought this, and it's like £7 on Steam, and it's basically like a massive interactive story where there's like video. There's obviously I think there's like 25,000 words that have been written with like pictures and videos, and it's absolutely gorgeous as like an interactive experience. I've only like read it for about. Is there
pictures of him in the Valve studios?
yeah, of course, yeah.
Can you zoom in to just check the pixels around his head?
Yeah, it's all green screen. But so I've only been reading for like half an hour or so, and there's like some video stuff. But like instantly, it's all really endeared me because he's got like because he. Think maybe in uni or college or maybe just around that he like went in to do a interview about Half-Life 2. I think it could be the original Half-Life. No, it wasn't. It was Half-Life 2. And basically there's like pictures of him there in like the late 90s, and then in this interactive thing that I'm in the interactive final hours of Half-Life Alyx, there's like some of his original emails, and one of them is like him emailing Gabe Newell, and it's saying, thanks ever so much for letting me come in and talk to the team and do a piece. I'm not sure it's a website or it's like university paper or whatever. And it like you can tell he's like really young because it's like, okay, thanks ever so much, but also I'm playing your game and there's like a bug and I don't quite know why it isn't working. And it's like it's really weird. It's like now you wouldn't ever think I'm gonna talk to the main person at Valve saying there's a weird bug. I don't know. And he does that twice in the same letter. So he starts off saying, this thing doesn't work. And later on, it's like, I'll try to do multiplayer at the place I am now. And like, there's this weird error. I don't know. Do you know anything about it? It's really sweet.
Matt, these were your emails to me when we started JoyPod.
Yeah, it really was.
That's essentially what it is.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, don't forget that.
the final. Well, I made it what it is basically. But yeah, the final hours of Half-Life Alex so far is really amazing. I haven't really done it. I haven't read anything like this before. I haven't done his previous final hours of experiences.
Yeah, I did his Titanfall one. It's really good.
I've heard they're great. And actually, from the outside looking in, I just assumed they were just a video piece. I didn't realise it was like a, the
Titanfall one that I read was like an interactive book, essentially, where you click on things.
It's so impressive, with like all the animations and and the artwork and like the stories of the team members involved. Like I said, I'm better. I think I might be on chapter 2, and there's like 14 chapters. But did you get that in the end, Sean?
I didn't know. I am planning to though. Yeah, I've heard really good things.
If anyone's listening and you enjoyed, or you like Half-Life or you enjoyed or loved Alex, this final hours is on Steam. I think it's like £7.19 or something weird.
Are you trying to be his mate or something? What's going on?
Just telling you about something I've enjoyed.
All right. Okay.
Recommend it.
Bit suspicious now. Bit suspicious of you, Matt.
Like, after that email, you can't not love Jeff Keighley. It turned me around. Well, not that I hate him, but that email's so sweet.
I can find a way. No, he seems all right. Let's get into the next news story.
Okay, so Phil Spencer doesn't have any regrets about Mixer at all.
I don't believe that. Anyone believe that? I don't believe it.
Do you want to hear the quote?
It's like,
yeah.
You can. Well, but I think we've all said,
sucker, Matt.
No, I think. I mean, we'll go through the piece in a minute. But like we've all said, they couldn't have done much more. Like,
no, it's true.
So,
it's true.
I'm sure he doesn't have any regrets, but I'm sure all the people that put all their stuff into it probably do. It's hoping it was going to succeed. It's
all that stuff they put into it.
All that
James?
stuff.
Loads of stuff.
Talk about respecting the art, eh?
Yeah, all that stuff they did. It's called content, mate. Look it up.
And also, you can't give a moral compass now, mate. You fucking slated the platform non-stop on this show.
If you, James, this would have been bigger than Twitch.
I just factually reported on how poor their numbers were. How is that slating it? I'm just using the numbers.
It's shit. It's never going to be anything good.
Well, it wasn't, was I? I was right.
It wasn't, was I? No, you're absolutely right, James. Right, go on, read the quote.
So he says, I don't have regrets. You make decisions with the best information you have at the time. You apply your best effort, and we're in a creative industry. We're in a hits-driven industry. And if we get this space, that we get afraid of disappointment, that we won't achieve what we're trying to achieve as an organisation. I think it's fundamental to us that we're not afraid of trying things that might not work. And that is just the art of making video games. And frankly, game platforms. Yeah.
All right,
yeah, fair enough. True in it for all things,
so He speaks well, that lad, doesn't he? He does speak well.
He does.
To be fair. He finds a way of saying something that makes it doesn't sound like a robot, and also says nothing that's going to cause a massive explosion. Yeah. Fair enough.
And then he just goes on to talk about how xCloud is obviously the future, and they want to get it on everything.
Oh no, he's ruined it. He's ruined it. Go on, James. Next news story.
And then finally, Sega have unveiled a mini arcade cabinet loaded with 36 games.
What the fuck is going on at Sega at the moment?
It's trying anything.
So it's called the Astro City Mini, and it's a scaled down version of like the one of their arcade cabinets, which was like really popular. And it's got a micro switch stick and a 6-button setup and marquee lights that light up, and also a stereo speaker sat like on the top of the cabinet.
Well, the good thing that I saw about this is that it's actually got USB ports and and HDMI out, so you can plug it into your telly and then plug in a fucking arcade stick.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I mean, it looks cool as hell. I mean, it looks
sounds
like
alright, to be fair. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's coming in at just under 100 or something.
Yeah. It's just under £100, but in Japan, and there's no Western release yet, and apparently it's coming out at the end of the year.
How big is the fucking screen on it? Are you going to need a magnifying glass for that?
Almost certainly. It's probably the same one as the Game Gear one. It's
They've rebadged it, you fool. I mean, when I saw Virtua Fighter running on that, well, not running, there was a screenshot of it, like probably photoshopped onto the cabinet, but I did look at that and go, oh, that's pretty neat. What games are
it? It's definitely cool.
Well, so far, we don't know all of them yet, but there is some. So we know that it's getting Alien Syndrome, Alien Storm, Golden Axe, Revenge of Death Adder, Columns 2, Dark Edge. What's Tant R? I've never heard of that. Virtua Fighter, Fantasy Zone, and Altered Beast. That's the only ones.
Can they do the same with like a 4-player Sega Rally cabinet?
Oh yeah,
where they're just tiny, a mini tiny one.
Oh, that would be amazing.
And you just control it with like Yeah.
Or if not that, like Daytona and Sega Rally are going to be on this, wouldn't you? Because they are like massive, like arcade hits.
Do a steering wheel version, and then and like a mini light gun version, mini House of the Dead. And I don't know how you can hold it. You have to hold it like with like.
You got to make sure if you're doing the Sega Rally one that the seat adjustment thing's broken, so you're always fully back. So you really got to stretch to reach the pedals when you're 12. Like that's how I remember that game.
This one looks cool as hell. I'm obviously not going to buy it, but it looks. I think it looks awesome.
Obviously, you're not going to buy it because you never buy any Sega thing ever, even though you.
I'm not going to play it for more than 1 second.
Biggest fans.
Yeah. It does look cool though.
Okay, cool. All right, then. Is that it for the news?
That's it. That's the end of the news. Yeah.
Who wants to step up, do what you've been playing first? Sean sounds like he's up for it.
I'm raring to go.
That was an indication.
I finished Spider-Man.
Oh yes, the Spider-Man.
It's fucking great. I loved it.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm really glad you lent it me, James, because that little bit of social pressure is what pushed me over the edge. Really loved it. I mean,
do I play this, Sean? Do I play it?
I honestly think you'd like it, man. I know you're not into Spider-Man, and certainly if you're not, like I said like last week, the quips and stuff might be a bit grating, but the story's good, man. It's legitimately good.
Am I going to play this on my own in the evening though? Like, is it kid friendly?
It's a great action game. I didn't really care for Spider-Man, but it's if you like the Batman games, I think you'll like this. It's brilliant.
Right. Yeah. Matt, I was talking to Sean.
Well, I'm telling you my answer.
Is it kid friendly? I mean, obviously there's fights in it. It depends how. Like Isaac's certainly at a phase where he's copying everything he sees at the moment, right? So I was a bit.
God!
So I was doing like web slinging, but I wasn't getting into any fights when he was around. There's a bit near the start where this isn't a spoiler. It's right at the beginning of the game. There's some police officers, and it turns out they're kingpins, thugs in disguise, right? And you have to fight some police. And Isaac started enthusiastically shouting, "Yeah, Spider-Man doesn't like police." And I was like, "Okay,
getting too early."
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because there's elements of the story that have aged even just 2 years, right? There's this whole thing halfway through the game, again, not really a spoiler. There's like a private military company sort of get brought in, and then it's very much like, oh, they're the ones who are sort of needlessly oppressing people, but the police are the real good guys. And obviously, given events of the last couple of months, people's eyes have been open to some of the stuff that police do, and it's kind of like, maybe has. I mean, it's not. I'm not saying it's like offensive or anything. It's absolutely not. It's just interesting that maybe different decisions will be made going forward with this stuff. But yeah, the story. I mentioned the relationship with Dr. Octavius. Obviously, if you know anything about Spider-Man, he becomes Dr. Octopus, and the way that's done is it's absolutely heartbreaking, and the way it's handled all the way through to the end of the game, it's just absolutely spot on.
That was the bit I was hoping you were going to like, because when you said about like, I wonder if they can, if he's going to be like a thing in this, or if it's going to be for a sequel or something like that. I was thinking, just play a bit longer.
It's so well done. And as bad as Dr. Octopus is, you understand his motives and why he ends up the way he does.
Definitely.
Like, I wouldn't say he's like a sympathetic villain by the end, but it's a tragedy that he ends up the way he does. And it leaves certain doors open for the sequel. Obviously, I'm now really excited about the Miles Morales sequel, / expansion, / whatever it is. Yeah, really loved it. Really surprised.
Going back to my first question, it's completely understandable, but it is gutting that you can't have a game like this where it's got a kid-friendly mode that you just press. Red Dead Redemption 2 was the perfect one. Could you imagine if there was a mode where everyone just said howdy to each other, there was no guns in it, and you could just like ride around on your horse and stuff and get a shave, and there was no...
because it's so close to that, isn't it? Like, you can go wandering off, but then there's just the chance that someone will start.
You come across someone that calls you a fuck, or like whatever. But the problem is that if they did implement that, like, you think that's such a great idea, they should do that. But if they did do that, the news stories would be like, I showed them it in kid mode, and then the next thing I know, they were playing it like they'd unlocked the full mode, and my child was playing this really horrible game. And so you know why they don't. But could you imagine, Sean?
That'd be great.
Just friendly cowboy mode. Just walking around, howdy partner, just riding around.
They just need
love that.
Yeah. They need like TV edit mode, don't they? Like they used to do for films. Where they'd like remove all the swearing.
Just imagining the interface. It always has like the context sensitive stuff, and it's got like all 4 face buttons, and they all just say howdy on.
I forgot they were really bad with that on TV. You'd be like, that actress has taken off her bra. Here we go. Why are they in a shop now? What's happened here?
Gutted. But yeah, it's just fascinating how it does so many things that I thought I didn't like about open world games. Like the amount of stuff littered all over the map is just obscene. There's cutscenes where there's like quick time events which genuinely do my head in, but then A, you can turn them off. You can just turn the QT stuff off, and B, the cutscenes are just sort of good enough that it's worth it. And I say on all the stuff littered around the map, it doesn't like constantly throw it at you. Like you press a button to do a scan, and then it'll show you what is nearby. But otherwise, it leaves you to it. Like as you're swinging around, it'll let you know when there's like crimes going on and stuff. But again, you can just sort of ignore that, and it's like it kind of makes a point of being like, the police will be fine, but if you want to help them out, that'd be cool. It's not like, oh, this person's getting mugged, and if you don't intervene, that's it, they're dead or whatever. It doesn't put any guilt on you for stuff like for skipping stuff. Like all the extra stuff feels very optional, but a lot of it is enjoyable enough that you'll do it anyway.
That's what I found. Sorry,
Go
Dave.
on.
I was going to say that's what I found with the puzzles. Because I usually hate puzzles in games, and I was just like, I can skip these if I want, but in the end, I ended up quite enjoying them, and they were absolutely fine.
I was going to say that's what I found with what do you call it, Horizon Zero Dawn. Like it is full of icons, all over your screen, and you look at it and go, oh no, it's one of these. But I found the vast majority of those icons led to really cool things. If I wanted to go and clear out a base, I could. I knew there was one right next to me, that's fine, but clearing out a base was actually a lot of fun to do. So that's I appreciate that in that game.
What else? I mean, the combat is great. Like it's really good. Like obviously, when we saw that initial trailer, everyone's like, oh, it's Batman, me included. But it does more, doesn't it? It's definitely goes above and beyond. They haven't just nicked the Batman template. They've not only have they appropriated it to Spider-Man and his abilities, but the fact there's so much aerial stuff, like all the sort of weird super abilities you get with the different suits. The amount of different suits you can unlock are amazing.
Yeah, the suits are great.
Yeah,
and I'm sure if you know anything about that, you'll love that even more.
Yeah.
But I think it gives you a little bit of a history. I think maybe about each one as well. But as I don't know nothing about it, but I still have my favourites, and it was a joy every time to get a new one. And
and there's some that you're just like, what the fuck is this? This can't be from a real Spider-Man thing. But yeah, they all are.
It is. Yeah.
And there was, I was texting James because not a massive Spider-Man guy, but there was a reference that I got in it, and I was like messaging him, like, fucking hell, it's this, did you see this? It's reference to Into the Spider-Verse and sort of Miles Morales' backstory. That was just it was just a really cool bit that, again, if you weren't looking for it or you weren't aware, you wouldn't even notice it. But if you know, you know. And I mean, that goes for the story in general, I think. Because superhero fiction, it sits in this weird place where every time you approach a new thing, it's like, well, which Spider-Man is this? Is this a Spider-Man that I've seen in a film or a comic book or a cartoon, or is it a new one? And it's like, so who's MJ in this one? Who's, different characters recur, but might be slightly different each time. So it's always interesting to see, what's the same and what's different. So as whether you're a fan or you're not, it's there are things that will be surprising, and yet also it doesn't rely on you having too much knowledge about Spider-Man. And the fact they do that, despite the fact that Peter Parker is well established as Spider-Man in this game, it's not an origin story for him. like he's been Spider-Man for a long time, and you're sort of joining the story halfway through. But the way it just picks up, and just introduces you to everything without you feeling confused or whatever. It's really, really well done. Really enjoyed it. Really glad I played it. I might get the DLC because I think it's about £8 for the lot.
Yeah,
at the moment.
I mean, you asked me, and as much as I love this game, I never got the DLC. I heard it was okay, and I think there was like a 3 or 4, and each one was a different theme.
Yeah.
But I didn't hear enough good things, and the mail was playing other things, so I didn't bother. But I think for £9, you'll probably get a decent amount out of it.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, might do that. I should probably. I mean, it's reminded me that I do sometimes like big long games as well, because you know what I'm like. I generally flip between smaller things, never really finish anything. But yeah, it's just been really nice just to have one big decent game to sink my teeth into. So it's been cool.
It was a bit like that with. I mean, that's how I felt with The Last of Us. Like,
just feels gutting when you finish a game like that.
Every evening, just like I'm really looking forward to sitting down and playing this for a couple of hours, and then it's gone.
Yeah, and you're almost like, but it's ridiculous. You come to the end of it, and it's like, well, now what do I do now? It's like,
this is what I've been doing for the last week or two.
I'm the guy who plays Spider-Man in the evening. What am I supposed to do?
Oh my god, I've got no personality. I get that feeling.
So yeah, it's good. I mean, obviously, I've got James's copy, Dave. I mean, with James's permission, I'd be happy to pass it on if you do want to give it a go.
I don't know if James wants me to play it.
No.
Is it one of those games, James, where you're like,
no,
you can hate it if you play this?
No, you can play it. I don't care.
I think you'll like it, man.
I think it'll be.
You'll really like it.
I think if you like the Batman games, I can't see why you would like absolutely hate this.
That was weird of me. I don't care for superheroes. I got off in they're arrogant.
I like when you said that as if they're real, and you're just like, nah, not for me.
Well, the thing is,
I'm all right.
What do you mean, Sean? What do you mean?
But on this show, none of us are massively into like Marvel and superheroes, but 3 of us absolutely love it. So
don't you go to the fucking premieres of the films and shit?
No,
we've been through this.
Done that.
But no, you've made the same mistake as me, Dave. I've just magically assumed that Matt's into
Everyone
Marvel
assumes
stuff.
I do, but no. I have seen some, but I don't know all the timelines and stuff.
Didn't you go to like a midnight viewing of Endgame? I'm sure you did.
No, God, I haven't seen the previous ones. Why would I do that?
I don't know, because Matt Murray, innit?
Yeah.
I didn't. Well, no. Everyone assumes that I'm. I would do that, but no,
Well,
I haven't
being
really.
into the Marvel Cinematic Universe does feel like a very Matt Murray thing to do, because
Yeah,
it's
it
just
does,
a never-ending
100%,
hype
yeah.
train, isn't it?
And when I
You
see
can't have a
or
go
hear
at
about a new
people for assuming
trailer,
that.
when I hear about a trailer, I do feel like I'm missing out when I hear everyone going absolutely mental. And, oh my god, I can't believe that person's in that trailer, and you see a second of that, and I do feel like I'm missing out a bit. But no, I've seen a bunch, and me and Jill watched a bunch over Christmas. I think they were on Netflix, or we started renting them because they like turn your brain off, sort of. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, everyone, I've just offended loads of people, but they're sort of like a dumb action film. Yeah. But no, I don't really know that. I mean, I wouldn't mind getting a part of it, but no.
I mean, if you have you seen Thor Ragnarok?
Yeah. Jill and I saw that without seeing other 4 films. I'm like, what? I mean, it was enjoyable. It was but I always felt like I was missing out. Cause I felt like every scene I was like, oh, I bet if I was a fan, I'd be like, oh, that's a reference.
And like Endgame is the absolute epitome of that. It's like they make sure that there's like a detail from every single fucking film previously that if you've seen it, you'd be like, ooh, I think we watched that.
I think we watched that over Christmas, or certainly the last few months, because we'd watched the other couple or 2 or 3 before that. But
hold on, I'm not into that at all. I watched about 4 films over the Christmas period.
But
Christmas, we're like, Marvel, let's watch some Marvel.
I was going to say,
about 20 of them, isn't there?
4 films isn't even scratching the surface.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
that's
sorry.
enough.
Yeah, that is enough. I also went back to Over the Alps. Talked about this a few months back. It's the Apple Arcade one. It's like a spy thriller set in World War II. Really beautiful art style, great writing. The other week they were just like, oh, we've added like a new chapter to it, and it's almost as long as the original game, and it's free. So I went back to that. Still great. Really loved it. New chapter's really good. Just all the stuff I said about it previously, just a really pleasant way to spend a couple of hours, just a little bit, a little sort of interactive novel, basically. And What's interesting though is it has this system. I didn't even mention it last time because it's such an afterthought that it wasn't even worth bringing up. Every like encounter that you go through, every bit of the story, there's like a bit where it's like, oh, because of the decisions you've made, here's how close the police are to catching you. And I never really understood it, and I thought maybe I was just being thick. It's really dialed down in this new chapter, and yeah, the devs basically tweeted the other day saying like, yeah, we know it's crap. We're completely redoing it for it in a future patch, and there's going to be another new story chapter at some point.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, if you
went full Tumbleseed.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if you're still on Apple Arcade, or if you're considering going back, yeah, Over the Alps, man, is really, really good.
Speaking of Apple Arcade, that new game that was announced on the PS5 show from the Machinarian devs, Creek, so that's actually already out on Apple Arcade, isn't it?
Oh, is it? Jesus.
Yeah. It's already out. Things out like consoles later in the month, but
fair dues.
Yeah,
cool.
I saw that the other day. I mean, I'm not really exactly excited about it, but it's pretty cool that something was announced on PS5. It's just already out.
Turns out it's already
something you might already have.
Yeah, amazing. But yeah, that's it for me this week.
Cool, James. Should we do our game that we've been playing this week?
Yeah. So we've been playing Superliminal.
Superliminal is just to give a brief outline. It's a 2019 PC game, and it's shorthand. It's a Portal style first-person puzzle game, where you the hook is you play with perspective of things. So the shorthand, the basic premise of it is if you see if there's a block on the floor the size of your hand, you could pick that up, hold it in front of your face, and then drop it in the right position, and it places it the other side of the room, but at the size that you're holding it at. So all of a sudden it becomes huge because you're taking something, looking at it close up, and then it places it further away, but at that size. And then you can manipulate objects through viewing them, picking them up, putting them down in different ways, and you solve puzzles basically. It's about a 2 to 3 hour experience, and it's just been released on. Is it all 3 consoles, or is it just PS4 and Switch?
All of them,
yeah, I think it's all of them. So I've been playing on Switch. I've finished it. I assume you have as well, James.
Yeah, I finished it on Switch as well.
Go on, then. What did you think?
I generally really enjoyed it. So it's not. I mean, it is because the whole game is about perspective and about looking at things in different ways. And it's not just like manipulating objects. It's also like looking. If you look at like objects that are there in from different perspectives, it will change how you view them, and then that alters the environment, which works quite well. And it is basically just a straight up environmental puzzle game. And I mean, I've said before many times I don't like puzzle games, but environmental ones are the ones that I do like. I do enjoy this side of things. And I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, there was a couple of bits that I was not so keen on. I really didn't like it whenever it went like really dark, and I got lost like quite a few times, not sure where I was supposed to go, and I also broke it as well at one point because I like glitched out of an area because I wasn't sure where it wanted me to go. But it's also one of those games that I felt where as soon as you begin to understand the logic of how the puzzles work, it becomes not terribly difficult to play through. You can do it quite quickly because they repeat. Like a lot of the puzzles are pretty much very repetitive. I kind of found, but in a good way, like not in a terrible way at all. I mean, I got stuck maybe once or twice when I just really had nowhere to go. But again, it was mostly because I was in these like dark areas where I couldn't see what I was supposed to do. And yeah, that was about it really. I mean, I overall I thought it was great. I mean, I thought the ending. Can we talk about the ending at all, Dave? I guess we can't really, can we?
Would it ruin it? But you could tell whether you liked it or not.
I mean, it's unlike most games, like a lot of games are always trying to tell you something. They're trying to make you think, they've got some sort of message. This one does that as well, but they actually tell you what they're trying to tell you, like at the end of the game.
Yeah, it straight up tells you what the game's about,
can't it?
Yeah. Which was quite refreshing, actually. Yeah. I was like, okay, yeah. This is quite. Yeah, this is. Yeah, so this is the developer saying, this is what we meant to do with this game. This is what it's supposed to mean, and that was quite interesting. And although like obviously it like the message it's trying to put across is maybe a bit kind of cliched or whatever, it was still, I thought it's got its heart in the right place, and what it was trying to say I thought was interesting. I really enjoyed it. I had a good time with it.
Cool.
It's short, but it was good.
I thought it was wonderful. Like I really, really enjoyed it from start to finish. I just really loved it. I as you say, the message was on the nose, but when it's not trying to be subtle, then you can forgive it of that. And when the message is very heartfelt and uplifting, it's just really lovely. I thought the puzzles were perfectly placed. I thought every time I thought this was going wrong, it went right. You know what I mean? Yeah, not really a spoiler, but like when you initially play it, you're like, oh my god, this is so much like it's trying to be Portal. Oh, look, it's a puzzle, like you're a test subject and you're doing a puzzle, and oh, look, you can break out of the immediate surroundings.
It's got the robotic woman voice.
Yeah, and it's telling you not to do that. Totally drops that. Like that becomes a bit of a joke. Like it's a bit of misdirection there. The game's full of misdirection, which also plays into the themes at the end, explained at the end to you, especially the bit where it looks like it's going full-on horror. And James, you texted me and said, I really don't like this horror section. And I just went, nor did I. It really made me feel uneasy. It looked like it was going to be, all of a sudden, Five Nights at Freddy's or whatever, and so it was going to jump out at me or something. But it ends with a little joke and a wink. You know what I mean? It's a bit of an obvious one, a bit of a silly one, a bit of an eye roller, but I don't know. It just, as you say, the heart was in its right place throughout the whole thing. If you trust it, you won't have those fears of, this is doing this, is it? And it doesn't. I mean, the end section leading up to that explanation of what the game's all about was such a beautiful mindfuck. You know what I mean? Like, it did stuff visually and completely changed things up. And all of a sudden, the game wasn't about manipulating objects to be the right size at all, was it? It was more about, how the fuck do I get out of this room? And then you realise that actually it was relying more on optical illusions than it was like environment manipulation. It was more about, hey, you're looking at it like this, but actually if you look at it from this angle, you can see what you're supposed to do quite clearly. Then it does some really cool stuff with lighting and trying to find your way around mazes, but you've got to use certain objects in different ways do you know what? I fucking loved it. It was 2.5 hours to 3 hours long. It was constantly entertaining. The puzzles were never ridiculous, but they were hard enough to make you like give yourself a pat on the back when you've done it, which again is a cliche thing to say about these games, but that's exactly what it was. The only regret I have is that I wish I could go back and play it on a different console, because it does suffer from frame rate issues on the Switch.
It stutters, doesn't it, in places?
Well, I've played it through pretty much twice now. I played it through on my own, and then I wanted to show Harry certain bits of it because I thought he'd get a kick out of it, and he did. He loved it, but obviously when I played it through that second time, I was doing crazier stuff with the objects.
Right.
So I wasn't like looking at it and going, I wonder what I need to do to solve this puzzle. I was like, let's make everything as big as I can in this room and all that. And the game really slowed down. Like, it was really struggling with that stuff. So my advice would be play it on PS4 or Xbox or PC, because you don't want that tainting the experience at all.
I'm so confused. I've just looked on Steam. It's not out on PC yet.
No, I didn't think it was. I thought this was brand new.
It's a 2019 Steam game.
Really?
Maybe that's like an old press release set. Like, it was originally supposed to come out on 2019.
Well, maybe there was.
I'll tell you what though, because when I played it, I felt like a game that would probably be more suited to PC, like especially like with mouse control.
Well, because it feels like a Source game, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. Yeah,
it's got those sounds where you're clicking on something you can't click on, and it's like a bit of like, meh, that stuff like from.
But it's also some objects you want to pick up are tiny, and it feels like it'd be easier to do that with a mouse than it would be
true.
with.
You can get this game on the Epic Game Store.
Maybe that's what it is then. Yeah, because Wikipedia says the Microsoft Windows release was November 12th, 2019.
Yeah, so it's out on Yeah, Epic Game Store right now.
Bloody love the Epic Game Store. It's great. It's a great store.
I absolutely loved it. Seriously, Sean, I know you're going to buy it. I think you're going to love it too. It's, as you say, it doesn't leave anything to the imagination. It flat out tells you what the game's about, and
that's fine though.
But
I'm all right with that.
The message is so uplifting and nicely,
that's the other thing,
nicely told to you that you totally fall for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's got some beautiful visual effects. It does something that I've never seen in games before. You know, it's like it feels very unique, even though it is so closely comparable to Portal.
Yeah.
It's I mean, definitely play it.
Yeah.
Like I would definitely recommend it. There's I find it hard pressed that if you don't sit there and play it thinking this isn't as good or clever as Portal, you'd be right, but you'd be missing the point.
Yeah.
I think it does. It's unique enough to stand on its own 2 feet, and I really, really enjoyed this game.
Yeah, cool.
So, I'm really glad I played it.
Did stream a bit of, there was a demo earlier this year on Steam, which now seems weird considering it was already out on Epic Game Store, but whatever. So I streamed a bit of it, and it was great. There was my favourite bit was when, I mean, you can, if you bother to go back and watch it, you'll see it, but there was a bit where I was like, why is there's like a weird little like smudge of a texture on this one wall, like, I guess that's a mistake that they made, haha. And then 10 minutes later it turns out to be like an integral part of a puzzle. Like, it's just
you might I know what you're talking about. That must be the visual angle thing.
Yes.
James, the 2 puzzles that really appreciated was the I'm going to sort of cleverly word this so people don't know what I'm talking about. The looking the other way for the exit. You know that one?
Yes, I know.
That was very good. I really enjoyed it. When I worked out what you needed to do, that was fucking clever. And they've got some balls to put that puzzle in there, because it feels so like, to have the confidence to know that people will be able to get that is pretty interesting.
Yeah, that took me quite a long time to get, actually.
I noticed the sign above the doors, so got it relatively quickly, right? The other one was, the one where you break everything. You know what I mean? Like, in that way. When I worked out that that's what I was supposed to be doing, it was like, oh my God, that is so clever. That really is clever. It's got a few of those moments, man.
See, I also like, the bouncy castle. I thought that was that was brilliant.
Yeah, there's some reoccurring objects in here that they do some very clever things with. It's very good. Superliminal, it's called, and it's available on consoles now.
Cool.
So recommended.
Nice.
James, did you have anything else? Because that's all I had this week.
The only other thing I had was LocoRoco 2, which I know has been out like for ages and ages and ages, but I played the first one like not so long ago.
What's this on PS4?
Yeah, this is on PS4 because it's a remastered version of the original. And as I said, I played the remastered of the first one maybe about a year ago, I think it was now. And it was one of those games which I played on PSP before and enjoyed, but never like ever bothered to try and get like very far through. But then I ended up finishing it and absolutely loving it. I thought it was fantastic. This was disappointing.
Really?
I see. The thing is, as I said, I really liked the first game, and I felt that the challenge in the first game was about right, and it just felt very like sort of relaxing to play and sort of enjoyable. But they didn't add a lot of mechanics to this, like new stuff. But what they did add makes it, I felt, slightly worse. Like, it's like the enemies are like significantly more persistent, and it becomes very irritating. Chen got really annoyed because she was outside and she could hear me shouting at one point because I was like, you know those things they like grab you.
Like, when I get frustrated with a game, I don't actually shout at the fucking thing.
No, I don't normally either, but this time I was because it was because I wasn't expecting it, because this sort of game you're thinking it's not really that kind of game, but it was starting to really irritate me, and she was just like, she was outside because Asher was in there watching me play as well, so this isn't very good. And she all she could hear was, "Stop it! I can't stand you," and stuff like that. That was what I was shouting, and she thought I was talking about Asher, and it wasn't. It was the game, because it was just really, really beginning to annoy me. And they added this really irritating thing of like making it so that the LocoRoco is like a bouncing ball instead, and so it's like just bouncing like all around the place, and you have to keep trying to like angle the screen. It was just super, really, very irritating, and It was okay, but I can see why they didn't bother with the third entry, because I feel that they kind of nailed it with the first one, and there was no need to do this.
Did you finish it?
Yeah, I finished it. Yeah,
wow.
It's yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I was just felt done with it after the first one. I think it's yeah, bit of a shame. I felt.
Right then.
But that's it. That's all I played.
Matt Murray, it's your time to shine.
I haven't played much this week either. I've basically been playing the games we talked about previously. Played a bit more Trackmania. Still really enjoying it. Carrying on Golf on Mars. Are you still playing that, Dave? Or have you...
No. I mean, what hole am I at? What hole are you up to?
Oh, I'm only like 150 or something.
Jesus. Oh, I think you're further than me now.
Oh, have you got to bits where there's like huge rocks which you can hit? And...
I'm up to 119.
So I got to a hole where there's a huge boulder, and you can like smash a ball into it, and it's near-ish an edge. It's near like a ridge, sorry. Yeah. And I'm like, hit it, and it kind of wobbled a bit, and I was like, okay, maybe I can knock it off there. And I spent like 40 or 50 strokes trying to get this massive boulder off the edge, and I could have maybe, if I carried on 150, strokes steady, I could have probably done it. But it was quite interesting. Okay, like now it's adding some new things. Was I supposed to hit that down into the canyon? I don't know. I went on after that. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those games where you can just play a few holes and then come back another day, another week, another month.
Yeah, I mean, I've done 120 of them, so yeah. I mean, I'm sure I'll play some more. But it's what did you say you are on to?
150? I think the rock though that might have been. It might have been around where you are.
Really?
I can't remember. I mean, it's one of the things in this game.
I've done 121 holes, so surely eventually, yeah, I've got it. I'm not that far away, am I?
No, but it's, in this game, I may have seen a rock before, but not noticed it. But this one was on the edge of a cliff, so I was like, okay, what can I do with this?
So it's not been recent.
Yeah, probably like 15 holes or so ago, maybe.
Right, okay, so I'm not too far because I've done 122 holes, so I'm. Yeah, no, it should be interesting.
Yeah, you can't really do far.
Should be pretty close.
Yeah, I'm still enjoying the game, but it's like it's one of those games you can play every now and then. And then Trackmania, as I mentioned, and then basically just the games we played last night. So that's it. It's been a bit of a. I didn't play any Hitman, obviously. So that's about it, really.
Cool. All right. Should we get on to your emails and stuff then?
Well, no, they're not emails anymore, are they? They're just questions. Which
either can you not do that every week?
Either come in. People are still getting used to the new system. We've got to draw attention to it for a bit, and then it'll be all right. You can still tweet at us if you want, but also you can contact us via going to our website tcgs.co/Dear TCGS, and there's a form you can fill in, and it just makes it a lot easier for us to keep track of everything. Stanshall says, if you have a choice in a game, do you play as a man or a woman, and can you explain your thought process? I'm a man, and I always play as a woman whenever I have the choice, especially in Souls games. Igarashi, that's the guy who does Castlevania and now the other one, Bloodstained, claims that this is a subversion of the man saves damsel trope, but that's absolutely not the case for me. If anything, it's because I know it will annoy a certain type of gamer if I beat them in PvP. What about you?
We had a conversation about this on WhatsApp recently.
It was very weird that this came in.
I thought it was very weird, that conversation. Yeah, I guess I was confused because we were chatting about, characters and stuff in games that when you get a custom game, I mean, I always try and sort of put myself on the character. So it's a male, white, brown hair, basically the default option. And I thought, is that weird? Like, is that, should I be doing that? Is that strange that I do that? I don't think it is, really, but then I would say that. So, yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine just go... See, here's my thing. When I play a game with a female lead character that I'm controlling, it doesn't even cross my mind, that I'm playing as a female character. It's not... That's just the character, like the Tomb Raider games and Last of Us and stuff like that. It's never a thing. But when I get to a character customization thing, I'm always like, okay, well, it's me.
Yeah,
I'm creating me. I mean, maybe I regretted that when I played Mass Effect because the FemShep stuff looked great, but ultimately I didn't because I created myself. Although my character looked more like Steve Buscemi, but
it's always interesting, this conversation. I mean, even putting the gender stuff to one side, there are people who, either just recreate themselves or maybe like a slightly idealized version of themselves. That's me. That's what I do. And then there's people who just like, no, I'm role playing someone else. Why would I want to be me? I can be me anyway. And they will think of a character brief, and they will put that together. And then obviously the gender stuff comes into that because a lot of people go, well, actually, I can play as a gender that I don't identify with typically. And that's really cool. That's really interesting. I
mean, you do what you want, but it's what do you do?
I always basically just make me, but usually more handsome. I did. It was Dragon Age Inquisition.
It's not odd.
Dragon Age Inquisition, right? I did like the usual thing, and I thought, no, do you know what? I am gonna fill out his neck and his cheeks a bit, make him actually look a bit like me, and he did. And just every cutscene, he'd charge in being the hero, and I was just like, I can't take this seriously. He doesn't look like a hero. He looks like me. He looks ridiculous. It was just don't know. It just looks silly to me. But then that's conditioning via Hollywood and shit, right? Oh, how can a slightly overweight balding man be the hero of a story? But yeah, it's weird.
I mean, I would say I mostly go for the male character, but I have play games. I was trying to remember an example, but I have play games where I've chosen to play as a female character. I can't remember what. I mean, I would say mostly I just use a male.
I do that talk about that. I do that on Call of Duty.
Yeah,
I don't think it's anything it's not like a stand or it's funny you're getting killed by a female character. I just tend to find them cooler because all the male characters in Call of Duty are you know what I mean?
Yeah,
they're the
yeah.
And it's okay. But yeah, James, I imagine you're the one that chooses. You're more likely to role play with a different character type, right, rather than creating yourself, right?
Not at all. I always create myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah, always. This is I'm pretty much exactly the same as you. I always do that. I always make myself in games. Yeah.
No, that's not a dig. I just assume that you're more into role playing and stuff, aren't you?
No. Where's that come from?
It's not an It's not kink shaming you, James. It's just
yeah. No, I'm not talking role playing that respect.
I'm talking about in the bedroom.
And even if he was,
more power to you.
Yeah,
there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I just wonder why you think that's what I'd be doing.
You're more of a nerd.
Thanks.
I think he thinks you're LARPing. Do
you remember when the excuse, but people were like, well, if I'm going to be staring at a character's arse for the next 30 hours,
you hear that. I fucking hate that.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
That's
gone, I think, thankfully.
Yeah, no, I guess that's my answer. Yes, I create a white man with brown hair, the default option, because I'm a default man.
Have we done the joke about me literally being the default character in Dark Souls? Because that's the thing.
We have.
That is a running joke to anyone that knows me, basically. At this point.
Do you ever get bitter when you go into the skin tone option in that, Sean, and you have to go right down to 0.0%? Go, yep.
So
that's me.
I was really worried then. You cut out a bit on Discord, and I was like, oh God, has he just done the punchline? And I'm just sitting, he's going to think I'm really upset.
No. I was doing little clicky noises so that would come through on the main audio. That's fine.
Yeah, I always, because obviously they always default to fucking white, don't they? And I'm always a bit I'm a little bit whiter than that. I'm always a bit...
The character that I made for myself on FIFA, I completely I was like, I'm not that pale, am I? I'm not that pale. I'll notch it up a couple, and I'm proper olive skin in there. I'm like some sort of Greek god running onto the pitch. I just thought, I've wildly misjudged that. I'm sure yours is quite easy, right, Matt? You just go beard.
Oh yeah, just bald man with beard. I mean, not every game has a beard, which is upsetting, but yeah. most of them do now.
But yeah, beard support is a weird one because you often find it's either just stubble or a full-on Matt Murray beard, whereas I'm sort of halfway, and that's not always catered for, but could be worse.
Do you give yourself a couple of inches height? Do you give yourself a couple of inches when it's like you know your height,
well, I tend
and it
to,
asks for your height, and you go,
height's rarely a factor, isn't it? But it's not.
No, it's often like that, and then because I always try and do it accurately, and then I always look a bit stupid because everyone else is all like strapping massive people, and I'm tiny.
Well, you see, because I don't know what the actual like average height for adult males is. I'm like
it's about 5'11", isn't it?
Is it 5'11"?
Yeah.
So I'm
it's just
like,
under 6 foot.
without shoes. I'm 5'11".
But with heels, you're 7'2".
Yeah.
Well, we've had this conversation before, and you're the same height as me. Okay. I'm 5'11".
Okay, yeah.
But have we checked that? I think you are about the same height as me.
I think so. This has been a running joke because for years I insisted I was 6 foot, and eventually I was like, do you know what? I'm a grown man. I could admit it.
Yeah, I did that when I was like, when I was like 18. I was like, I'm 6 foot, and then you get to a point where you just go, no, you're not.
Nah.
Do you know? I can tell you the average size for a man in the UK is 5'9".
Yes, get in.
I'm still below average,
which is exactly which I am exactly the average because that's exactly what I am. So that's quite funny. Yeah.
Don't put yourself down, James. You're worse
we
than
need
that.
to go back. We need to go. Well, hold on.
Okay.
We need to go back. We had this discussion last year, and James and Matt was insistent that he was the same height as James.
No. I said I was 5'8.5" or something. I mean, I've measured myself a long time, but. Yeah. Because I think we joked about the half, like I'm a child. I'm 5'8.5".
Yeah, we need to get you measured again, I think.
Yeah, by professional.
I've grown.
What were we talking about? Oh, yeah. So, height. So that actually works because what I tend to do is whatever the middle option is, I'll just go one notch above on height just to get a little confidence boost. And that's, I guess that's accurate.
Yeah, I often think, I should just live out my fancy and actually have hair, which I think about 20 times a day, every day. Yeah. But when it comes to games, I was like, no, it just made me upset. Like, look at this man with the mop of hair. Yeah. So I'll just do the bald man. Yeah. You can't be a bald man in Animal Crossing.
No, you can't.
There is no bald, which is mental. Like, that's the easiest model for them to do.
Yeah, you can't
mate, you've got to see. Can I recommend, while we're talking about that, can I recommend going to... there's a video series on YouTube which is just fucking brilliant called Boundary Breaks.
Oh yeah, like
just search for that. It is so good. There's so many games they do it to, where they get a game, they hack the camera and they show things like, the giraffes in The Last of Us. They go out and look at them close up and then show you what they do when you shouldn't be able to see them. Yeah. And they've done 2 Animal Crossing videos. The second one's better than the first. Animal Crossing is all on like a tube, basically.
Yeah, it's like a big log, isn't it? Basically?
Yeah, all that sort of stuff. It's fucking great. But they hacked the main character and they took all the clothes off to see what was underneath.
Oh, no.
And
you never do that.
To the point where they've, Nintendo are obviously so strict in making sure nothing weird happens. They're basically black bars over the private, but they're like little underpants that they've got on that are actually drawn onto the model. It's really interesting.
Just in case. But on the subject of Animal Crossing, you can get beards for your character. Matt, do you wear one?
Yeah, you buy them.
The beards look shit in it.
Yes, they do.
But I do. But sometimes I might change it if I use the wand to change an outfit. Yeah, the beards are shit. Is that basically it's one beard, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's
but I basically been wearing a mask in the game for months. So.
Of course, yeah. No, it was weird because I was like, brilliant, a bit. I think it was Lindy that sent me one, and I was like, oh, amazing beard, and I put it on, and I was like, oh, it just looks like a child with a beard.
Yeah, it really does look like a child with a drawn-on beard.
I was like, so have I been on what level have I been thinking that this character is a child the entire time? Like, I thought it was just me. But now suddenly it's a 6-year-old. And I don't know
that really brought it to sharp focus on me too.
Did it finally hit home what the target audience is for this game?
Yes, it did.
These are children. Oh, shit.
I don't want to play children in this child in this children's game.
But we've been having some difficulties with Animal Crossing at home because Elodie has, how do I describe it? she sort of developed like an affection for one of the people in the town in the island. Roscoe is his name. And she like wrote like Roscoe a letter asking him out for a date. And
James, Matt, did you go around there and have a fucking like? What are your intentions with my daughter?
But basically, I said, just fucking leave this island now. I mean, actually, no, that'd be. I don't want that to happen. That'd be horrendous. But no, like she wrote a letter, and obviously the other characters do understand the letter has been sent, and they would send the letter back. And then I said, she's he sent the letter back, but the letter didn't
mention it.
It's like, thank you for the letter.
It didn't relate to. It didn't refer to a date. She's like, "Well, why didn't it mention a date?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know if he's gonna. I don't know if they're gonna be able to talk about that." And basically, like she was like spending a while sort of chasing him around the island. And if you go into like another house where like there's two islanders in the same house, so she went in. She was trying to find Roscoe everywhere. She like, went into someone's house. Oh, brilliant! He's here with Dom. Amazing. And then she kept talking to him in the house, and he wasn't really changing the conversation because, obviously they only have like a few lines of dialogue. So she kept saying, "Oh, I wonder if he's going to mention the date." He didn't mention the date. I was like, "How about we just like leave?" And then so she left the house. Dom left the house, and then you can't get in someone's house, obviously, when the owner of the house has left the house. You can't go in. But he left. But then technically, Roscoe was still in the house.
Oh no!
Because. And then she's like, "Well, why is he in there? Why can't he come out? Like Dom's." And then she was chasing Dom around town, saying, "Well, are you going to go home?" It got a bit much.
Can you go home again so I can speak?
Because Roscoe was technically in the house. I was like, thankfully, we didn't wait long enough for them to go around there, because then obviously Roscoe would have disappeared, and she would be like, "Well, where the hell's he gone?" It's a bit. Every time there's a new island, I'm like, "Hey, someone else is here now. We should say hello to him." And she likes Roscoe.
That's sweet, though, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, no, she's massively.
James is exactly the same with Isabel.
That is. Oh, shut up.
Too much, baby. What's Isabel in the house?
It nearly went. James Farley.
Yeah, but if Roscoe leaves the island, it is. I don't want to be there when that happens. So I'm doing everything I can to make sure Roscoe never leaves.
Well, like you, who stole Cherry? Oh, that was Sean, wasn't it? Okay, you're safe, Matt.
Cherry Thief. I do remember.
Is Cherry still there?
Do you know, I haven't booted the game up in some time.
Oh, she'll still be there.
Yeah, she's been gone anyway. Yeah. Next
Just
question.
if she's packing her bags, let me know.
We'll do. We'll get her back. MD Criboffs says, "What 3 habits would improve your life?" I mean,
mate.
that's right. But here's one. Me and James actually doing the Ring Fit competition that we keep saying we'll do and then not doing.
Yeah, that'll probably help.
Definitely.
Right, I promise.
I'm still doing that most days.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well,
most days, is it? So are you definitely not daily now, or still daily?
No, I'm still doing it. I do it Monday to Friday.
Okay.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So that's been like 2 months, isn't it, or longer?
Yeah, it's been a while. It hasn't made any. Well, I don't know if it's made any difference.
I bet it has.
Not,
you just don't notice it. It must have done every day for half an hour. Yeah. I can bench press 450, whatever that means. But that would make a difference. Yeah, when we see you next time, like, EGX saying you'll be absolutely ripped. It's like, I don't think it's made a difference. It made you look like The Rock.
Just goes to shake your hand and fucking crushes it into dust, and he's like, that's the Ring Fit, I guess. I don't know.
that thing where he points to his heel with both fingers like that.
Yeah, I've done that. Yeah, where the toilet's over there.
Showing us his back and flexing.
It must have made a difference, James. Doing every day for like, what was that, 2-3 months old, that game?
Yeah, I guess
this is the problem, isn't it, with getting healthy, is that it's so gradual. You often don't notice when the improvements come, but then
you only notice when you stop and you're like, I was healthier back then.
Yeah. Oh, you
notice when your mum goes, you're ill. Like, that was the worst conversation.
That's right.
When I lost the weight or whatever, Mum turned around and just went, "You need to stop, David. We're all worried about you." And I went, "No, I'm just not obese anymore. There's a difference. Stop that."
We need to look at...
So you two doing that.
I need to look at, like, what Ring Fit
Speaking of Animal Crossing, my wife has just sneaked in the room and put the Switch back. I didn't even know. She's addicted to her now. She's actually addicted to Animal Crossing now. I keep catching her. She keeps going in the evenings. Do you want to play a game? Nah, not really. Should we watch that? I play a game. I'm playing Animal Crossing.
I had this conversation with New the other week, and I was like, Joe Turner's playing it now. She's normal. She's playing it. It's it happens.
Yeah. I told Jill about that. It's like, Joe's playing it now. It's like, yeah, Jill basically hates games. Like, no,
so does Joe. You know Joe does as well. And honestly, she plays it and she hates herself for playing it. She constantly moans about, why am I doing this? I'm like, oh, there you go. This is it.
Welcome to our life. Deadbeat Punk says, "Hey pod."
Oh, we didn't answer the question.
No, we
did
didn't.
we?
Sorry,
but I felt like it. Okay, we can go.
The habits,
Okay.
right? So yeah, mine would be definitely just tidying up more.
Yeah,
that's probably what it is. That would improve my life.
Yep.
Making the bed in the morning. You know that thing of just like, hey, the first thing you should do in the morning is make your bed, because then you get to come home to a made bed.
Yeah.
Right? I just haven't got it in me.
You see,
I wake up in the morning and I'm barely alive.
See, I love making the bed. I mean, I don't, but
I'm sure you do.
I'm always happy to have done it. Like, it's always just a little bit of, just a nice little, like, whatever the rest of the day's like, I can start it with, right, here's the thing I don't really want to do. There it is, it's done, it looks good.
So,
it's...
when you say you make the bed,
Yeah.
I mean, when I think make the bed, I think, okay, the cover is over the bed and it's like, it's
Yeah, that's
neat.
make
I mean,
the bed,
what
yeah.
are you saying? Are you saying like 13 sheets, 16 pillows, a throw?
no,
No,
What are
you
saying?
said just make the bed.
Yeah, just straighten the covers out, all the pillows and stuff. We have, like, some extra cushions that we don't need. And to be honest, they annoy me, but sometimes...
How the other half live.
I know, if I'm feeling...
Hello there.
If I'm feeling fancy, I'll arrange them.
Bloody hell. Sean, do you also have a swan made out of a towel?
Yeah, I mean, normally I get the butler to do this stuff.
Get
But,
the fucking mint on the pillar.
sometimes I feel like roughing it, and I don't get any assistance with it. Just do it myself,
Wow,
So,
bloody hell.
Yeah, but the situation the problem I've got is that if I'm waking up, right, then Joe's definitely still asleep in the bed. I can't stop making the bed.
I'm always, because New generally works
Just
early
make one
morning,
side.
so I'm always up second. So, yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Oh my god, you lucky fuck.
Yeah, I'm always first out of the bed.
Really?
No, see, we take it in turns, day by day.
Really?
Day by day, baby. I get up first, then she gets up first, then I get up first.
When we're both off, obviously we take it in turns. But yeah, generally, if New's in work, she's often in at like sort of 5 a.m. So, yeah.
Oh, right, okay, so you're still getting up early.
So I got the same routine. Get up in the morning, go downstairs and put Ring Fit on, and put the boys' porridge in, to start heating while I'm doing the Ring Fit.
Bang
and
one out over Isabel. Go on.
Yep.
Filth.
Well, your words, not ours.
See, that's the bit I always fuck up with Ring Fit or any exercise at home.
Too busy jerking it.
I mean, it's a form of exercise in itself, and of course, no, I'm not going to continue that joke.
No.
It's the factoring in the fact that I'm going to need a shower afterwards, right? Because I know if I don't get time to do it in the morning, that's it. Because if I'm halfway through the day, I'm like, yeah, but I'm going to need another shower if I do it now, or in the evening, or I suppose the halfway house there is do it late at night and then have a shower before bed. But then I'm still going to feel a bit gross in the morning.
No, you definitely feel better for exercise in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I found it's better to do it in the morning.
Yeah.
That's why when I was going into the office to work, I was even like setting my alarm to get up even earlier so that I could do it before and then have a shower and stuff. Because
I play loads of sports.
You do?
Go
on.
Yeah, squash.
My
Should we
answer
do
is
the next thing?
exercise, definitely more sleep. I know for a fact. More sleep,
Matt,
exercise.
you've got to get that sorted. I mean, I was
know,
up till
but-
1 o'clock most of the week last week, and it killed me. So Saturday night was
pathetic.
insane. It got to about 9 o'clock, and I was like, I don't even know if I can physically move at this point. How you go until like 3-4 in the morning every night is fucking insane.
It's not every night. It's not every night. It's I'll say average. It's 1:30.
Okay.
So
what time are you getting up?
Maybe not average. As average.
Oh,
so
my
someone's later,
goodness.
someone's earlier, but not. It's only if I've got a game I'm
Sometimes
smashing it to.
later, 1:30.
Yeah, I'm furloughed at the moment, so it's like different. I mean, anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah, sleep, exercise, eating better. It's the simple ones.
Yeah.
But I know they'll improve my life.
Yep.
Having said that, I had a Mackey's the other day for the first time in months. My God, it tasted so fucking
good,
good.
isn't
I know, it's ridiculous, isn't
First
it?
one since lockdown. I haven't had one for like a fair while before that, but oh God, it was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Wacka-macka led.
Ooh,
Deadbeat Punk
I did.
says, hey, podcast. I was going to email in last week, but alas, that fine traditional feature seems to have been replaced by some asinine method that was annoying, so I skipped it. But it got me to wondering, are there certain features in games that put you off playing or finishing games you would have otherwise... I know we've done this before, haven't we? We've had this question before, I'm sure we have.
All right, nice one, Sean. Well done.
Yep, well filtered.
Thanks for the email. Thanks for the message.
But we've covered
Thanks for the message, Debbie Pump.
I will just mention
he's one of the bigger fans as well. He should know.
He should know better. Yeah. Skin Tight Jeebus says, when will Capone Adam be on your show again?
I want him on the show again. I love him.
Yeah. I'll be up for that.
I love him. Capone, you still listen, don't you? You're listening now. You're sitting down.
He's a patron
somewhere listening now. You're a patron.
Yeah.
Come on the show. Come on the show again. Let's do one. I think it's about time, isn't it?
The time difference is...
Can we not do what we did last time? Last time we put the normal episode out and then Capone's edited episode.
Oh, so we're talking about him editing or him being on the...
Well, you can't have him on and not edit.
Yeah.
He's got to edit.
That's fair.
But
look, so
this time
Skin
we
Tight
just
Jeebus
do the
tweeted
edit.
that, and Capone responded to the tweet saying, look, there's clearly a huge demand. I heard similar pleas on the Patreon podcast too. If they send me the audio tonight, that's not going to happen tonight, but if they send me the audio, I'll send them an edited alternative show on Wednesday.
No, he needs to be on it as well. I don't think he should be on next week, because next week there's a big game coming out. Oh, yeah. Next time we find a week where there's not a big game coming out, where people...
No, but if there is, he could do his good review, bad review.
Good point.
Thing for it. Yeah.
Maybe he could do that the week after.
We would love Adam back on, obviously, but
I love Capone Adam, genuinely, and I'm gutted that I don't speak to him anywhere near as much as I used to. But he's still...
And there must be at least 2 new listeners who haven't heard of him, and they're like,
and one of them will be thrilled with the edit.
Yeah, we've just got to be prepared.
One will be loving it, exactly one will hate it. So,
yeah, we've just got to be prepared for 50% of the audience saying this is the funniest thing I've ever listened to, and 50% of the audience being furious, saying they'll unsubscribe.
Yeah, never appear on that show ever again, please.
Yeah, I want Capone back on.
Yeah,
I miss you, Capone. Genuine. All right, go on.
We've got another one asking about predictions for the Xbox conference. We can't do that now, can we? Are we going to do
when
that?
Is it?
Do that
it's the 23rd, so no, next week's show.
Next week we'll do predictions.
Yeah, cool. I think that's... Hang on, what else have we got? Sorry, I haven't read through all of these yet. Jamie John says, I know that Ghost of Tsushima isn't out yet, but now that we're coming to the end of the gen, what's been your favourite single-player PS4 exclusive? Bloodborne, God of War, Uncharted 4 and The Last Guardian, all absolute bangers, but The Last of Us 2 just about pips it for me.
Sorry. Last Guardian? You having a laugh? That doesn't even need to... That should not be on that list. No. What a terrible game that was.
Just upset everyone.
The ending was good.
Was it? I never got that far. I mean, put Spider-Man on that list, definitely.
Oh, you didn't finish it, did you?
No. Last Guardian, no.
I'll tell you what the ending is after this.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so...
Spider-Man should be on that list, but there's no contest.
Nowhere near that list, though, is it?
Spider-Man?
It should be on the list.
100%.
But
it should definitely be on that list, yeah.
Matt, Last of Us 2 or Spider-Man?
Well, no, I said, I mean, Last of Us 2 is by far and away the winner, but it should be on the list for sure. I mean, it's up there with what some of the best single-player PS4 exclusives.
I think Last of Us 2 should be on that list. I think Bloodborne's in for a good shout as well.
Yeah,
Last of Us Part 2 is Game of Generation.
Bloodborne's definitely up there.
I wouldn't say Game of the Generation. Remember Red Dead Redemption 2 come out in this gen.
Yeah, no, I think this is way better than that.
You're wrong.
Well, I don't think I'm wrong.
No, I'm telling you are. Okay, yeah, Last of Us 2, I reckon.
Fair enough. I mean, I've never, despite being mostly PlayStation this generation, the exclusives have never been the thing for me.
The big draw.
Yeah, it was always...
Uncharted 4 was really good. It just, it didn't do quite enough, I don't think.
Yeah.
Well, I guess because it was amazing, but it was also more of the same.
Yeah, more of the same.
It was more the same, but more better
same,
and amazing. But please, but Last of Us Part 2 is the one.
Okay, I'm going to go there again. Can I go there again, just quickly?
Go on.
You know that whole Red Dead?
No.
This is so last gen.
Not this again.
Go on. Yeah.
Just hear me out.
Yeah.
It's quick. Yeah.
Last of Us 2 was very last gen then in that regard, right? The mission structure was pretty much the same as Last of Us 1.
Well, I wouldn't class them as missions. It's just a story.
Oh, because they're not specific missions. The game loop was the same.
Well, no, but I'm not having.
I mean, since Uncharted 1, the game loop was the same. Bit of puzzling, bit of exploration, bit of combat, right?
But I said Red Dead 2 was an amazing game, but the structure of the missions...
But
I don't think I'm alone in that. I don't think I'm alone in that criticism.
Red Dead could also be put on The Last of Us 2.
No, it's completely... It's different.
Why is it different?
Let's move on. Next question.
Why is it different, Matt?
Because there wasn't... Because Rockstar's on the fucking last 7 games in order for the mission fucking instructions are the same.
Uncharted 1, Uncharted 2, Uncharted 3, The Last of Us 2, that's 5.
It's different.
What I'm saying, I'm not levelling that as a criticism to The Last of Us 2. What I'm saying is that you put that as a big criticism of Red Dead 2.
No,
it's okay for that game to repeat game design.
I said that was like, I would like it if the next one is better and make changes, and they didn't.
Gen.
Please,
yeah, exactly.
Please,
but you're the one who made it a massive thing. I would say they haven't massive.
Fuck off, Matt. You made it. You made it a massive thing.
No, you did.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, listen. That's just what I made that point. I just want to make that point.
Well done.
Thank you. You're very welcome.
Andy Godwin says, after Ubisoft's latest showcase, why do you think Splinter Cell continues to get the cold shoulder? I wish they'd pick up your...
Why is Splinter Cell raised up as this, big thing?
That's just because that's a big one for a while, wasn't it? People want it.
For one game.
No, for 2 or 3 games, wasn't it?
When they were... What was it? That was Xbox answer to Metal Gear Solid, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
At the time, yeah. But what I think is, I was like, why do they keep adding Sam Fisher to more recent games? Obviously, there's new Elite Squads, and I think there was Sam Fisher DLC in Wildlands, I think, and but most people now don't even know who Sam Fisher is because there hasn't been a game in 2 generations now.
Point. Well, the reason is because Ubisoft don't make those sorts of games anymore.
But
they
why
mostly
do they keep
just
fucking drip feeding it, getting people excited, Most people are like, who the hell's that?
Do you know what probably happens? Do you know what probably happens? They sit in a room and they go, look, loads of people are saying we should do a new Splinter Cell. Should we do one? Good idea. How many did the last one sell? Fuck all. Okay, what about the one before that? Fuck all. Okay, so why should we do this? Well, there's some people on Twitter that really want it. But they didn't buy the last one, so what? Fuck them.
It's like
stick it in a mobile game.
Capcom still keep shoving Okami or Gene from God Hand into fighting games and stuff, and you're like, no, fuck off. Either do a game or fuck off. Don't just be like, hey, we remember. Look, piss off.
It's no, it's not. Jesus. They're sticking them in there because they know that there's enough people that might think that's cool because they want that, they like that character, but there's not enough people that like that character to justify fucking developing a whole new game with them.
No, you're right. It's just it's irritating, isn't it? You feel, don't know,
it's more of a middle finger than anything else. Yes,
yeah,
that's exactly how I feel.
I'd rather don't do any Sam Fisher stuff ever again because I'm sick of seeing him in popping up in little games. Just like as Sean said, do a main game or just fuck off. Actually, one thing I failed to mention a few podcasts ago, and I'm going to say it now, totally unrelated. Well, mostly unrelated, but about old franchises that come back. I think the new Skate's going to totally bomb.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, 100% bomb.
It's like the Mirror's Edge thing. People are like, I want Mirror's Edge 2, and all that stuff comes on. Obviously, loads of people are really vocal on social media. Skate will probably come out. It'll probably be fine. It'll just come and go. Mirror's Edge 2, I think reviewed well, but came and went. Yeah,
it's the Mirror's Edge 2 thing is fascinating because I still feel like I have so many more memories of, man, I wish Mirror's Edge 2 would come out, and than I have of Mirror's Edge 2 being out and being a thing. Whereas actually, I'm pretty sure we've now had more years of Mirror's Edge 2 being out than wishing it was out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's fascinating that we all demanded that for so long. But then they made one mistake. Everyone said, "Oh, do Mirror's Edge 2 and just take all the guns out," and they went, "How about instead more guns?"
Yeah, they did something different, didn't they?
More combat.
Yeah, which.
But I don't know. I just feel like it's never gonna. This new Skate game, it could be great. It's never gonna do what people. It's never gonna reach the levels that it seems that people
Yeah, like the
fact
fact
is,
is,
of all the tweets and the messages. People are saying, wow, people constantly tweeting and, making skate trending. And also, it must be massive. And actually, no, it's probably just an incredibly loud, incredibly vocal minority. And actually, when it comes out, it's like, really must be. I mean, I don't want to be negative about a game that isn't out yet. Hopefully it's good and hopefully it sells millions and it's great and all. But I just kind of feel like for the devs, it's just so much pressure. And ultimately, it's going to come out and they're like, hey, you guys want to skate? And they're like,
not on the same lines, but a game that has been in the news recently because of the PC port, Death Stranding, that went very quiet, didn't it?
Yep. Yeah, that was really
I mean, classic Kojima, massive lead up, marketing campaign last month, and it comes out and, Also, I wonder what the PC scene is going to be like. Also, mods and stuff.
Matt, I said 5 games, but I forgot the Vita game and Lost Legacy. Should we move on to the next email? Or is
that's it. That is your lot.
I mean, do you want me to count the GTAs? And they're still doing a bit where you have to follow someone.
Chinatown Wars was different, wasn't it?
It was a bit, yeah.
Also, in GTA 5, you follow someone and then your car breaks down. It turns into a whole new thing. That's different. Okay.
How are you saying? Surely you want them to improve that?
Matt, please.
No, James, you please.
Is that the episode title? You please?
You please.
Right, okay.
It's all about a hot dog.
Let's do the things. Go on.
Let's do the things, yeah. So this Friday, James is streaming Deadly Premonition 2. He started last week.
Oh my God, you didn't mention that, James. What the
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it went a bit all over the place.
Did you watch the stream? Did you watch the stream, Matt?
No. I need to catch up. I started watching it.
Yeah, he streamed for about an hour and 20 minutes, right? It was the opening cutscene, and I thought, I'll fast forward this. And I fast forwarded about 20 minutes, and I was like, still the opening cutscene. This is weird. Fast forwarded another 20 minutes, still the opening cutscene. And it was like, what is it? It's just trying to be Silence of the Lambs, isn't it, at the start?
Yes.
It's like, oh my God. This is, oh Jesus.
I mean, but before he started streaming, I had heard on Twitter, 'cause obviously reviews went live like a day or so before. And on the day of streaming, I had Red Pill on Twitter saying, actually, the first 2 or 3 hours are mostly just like, there isn't much player agency. You're mostly watching, but I didn't want to say that because I didn't want to disappoint him. But anyway, this Friday, James is carrying on with Deadly Premonition 2. That's Friday night at 9 p.m. Sunday night from 8 p.m. I'm back with more Hitmat. Getting through. I think I'm going to do a new level this Sunday. And then Tuesday, Sean's back for Played by the Bell, where he's playing a selection of indie games of his choosing. That's Tuesday night at 9. They're all at twitch.tv/TCGSco. If you miss them live, you can go to our YouTube channel, just search for TCGS on YouTube, and you can find videos of the old streams. We're on, if you've got Amazon Prime, we've got Twitch Prime. We're on patreon.com/TCGS. Next week, there'll be a brand new bonus podcast, but if you back at the $5 tier, you list all the previous bonus podcasts, and there's quite a narrative developing with that, let me tell you.
Yes, there is.
And there's many other tiers. And it's tcgs.co or everything else.
Thank you so much for living it. We hope that you have a decent week, and we will catch you next week for another special episode of the Computer Game Show, brought to you by those folks at TCGS.
Wait, is it special for any reason, or are they all special?
It's a big week next week. Two big games,
yeah, of course, yeah.
What are the 2 big games?
So it's Ghost of Tsushima and the Mario game, right?
Oh, is that a Mario thing out?
The Mario
You getting that in your James?
That Mario thing? Yeah, I'm getting it.
Just now not into those games, is it?
I'm a big fan of the Paper Mario series.
What? How do we not talk about the Treehouse event?
Because it was pretty boring. To be honest.
Goodbye.
Can we just... Yeah.